And welcome. We will be reviewing this debate and giving a little bit of commentary live as I already watched it, and it is just over. So now we're going to play it one more time through other commentary as they watched it live. Louder with Crowder. Let's get into this.
Look at Joe Biden doing his fists, his fisticuffs. He's showing you his veiny, liver-spotted knuckles.
Not smart.
Where if he were to try and throw a punch at your head, you would just need to duck your skull, and his knuckles would have.
He came out. He came out.
Yeah, he came out.
Not good.
Let's get going.
Check his
Our
ears.
first subject is the Supreme Court. President Trump, you nominated Amy Coney Barrett over the weekend to succeed the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the court. You say the Constitution is clear about your obligation and the Senate's to consider a nominee to the court. Vice President Biden, you say that this is an effort by the president and Republicans to jam through an appointment and what you call an abuse of power. My first question to both of you tonight, why are you right and make the argument you make and your opponent wrong? And where do you think a Justice Barrett would take the court? President Trump, in this first segment, you go first, 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chris. I will tell you very simply, we won the election.
Happened. A president during an election year has had a vacancy 29 times. They nominated
and
somebody.
We have
and
a phenomenal
9 out of 10 times
nominee,
exact, shared
respected by
government,
all,
Republican and Senate.
top
It was
academic,
there was one exception, and it ended up
good
being
in every
a
way,
resignation.
good in every way. In fact, some of her biggest endorsers are very liberal people from Notre Dame and other places. So I think she's going to be fantastic. We have plenty of time. Even if we did it after the election itself. I have a lot of time after the election, as you know. So I think that she will be outstanding. She's going to be as good as anybody that has served on the court.
Oh, I'm going to have to recap on that one. Hey, guess what? Oh, I'm about to go in. I'm about to go in. Hey. Trust me, I'm about to go in. Don't even worry about it. We're about to do this real quick. And yes. Yes, I need to, boy. Let's get that recap on this one. You ready? Let's get it.
I was listening to the radio, and it's all they would talk about is the fact that they're not trimming the force down, they're not breaking it down, they're not cleaning it up, and it's just becoming an accelerant that's causing fires every single year. And most of it is in California. You ask yourself the question, why is that occurring? President Trump hit on a few other things, too, that I thought was valuable. Let me answer a couple of these super chats. Deborah, you are the bomb.
Yes.
Love you, ABL, Jericho. Keep up the great work. I was supposed to bring my boy Gray on here, but I forgot to get him on here. I got to get him on here, but I'm on a roll. Thought the moderator was rather disrespectful. If anything, respect the office. He seems to enjoy getting a dig any way that he could. Thoughts? Yeah, I thought the moderator was terrible. The moderator was terrible.
He was awful.
Like, I felt like he was. Listen, he was talking down to Trump. Like, you're going to be happy about this, Trump. Like, look, you little kid, I'm going to give you a handout. What? That's not how you talk to the president. That's not how you talk to the vice president either. I think that they should be respectful in the middle. I don't feel like he hit Biden hard enough. I don't understand. Like, as a moderator, you have to be flexible, right? If you see the trend going down a certain path, you got to back off of your little questions and say, okay, Joe Biden, are you saying that your son did not receive this money? Are you on the record saying that your son did not? If he says, yes, my son did not receive this, what evidence do you have? Like, why are people saying this? Did your son ever work for Ukraine? You got to go down that path as a moderator because the American people are going down that path. It's the same thing with Trump. If Trump in his taxes, if they say, oh, you only pay $750 in taxes in 2016 or whatever, and you don't need to ask the rest of your questions. Go down the path of his taxes. Why did you not pay that amount of money? Why do you think it's reasonable to pay? Are you expect the American people to pay? Go down that path. How many taxes did you pay in general? Did you pay taxes the other years? When you say you paid millions of dollars in taxes, give me some numbers. What years did you pay taxes? And how did you get from here to here? That's what the moderator should be doing, but the moderator did not do those things because the moderator is working for the other side, in my personal opinion. Not saying to get in the check, he disliked Trump just as much as Biden disliked Trump. And I just wish they would have somebody. I don't even think Joe Rogan will be a formidable candidate at this point, because I feel like Joe Rogan is somewhat of a liberal in essence. But I really do think that they should have a conservative person. If they're going to have liberals be moderators and be biased, they need to have a conservative. I think that would be very fair. We got 23,000 people watching. This is a record. It's a record, Sean. 23,000 people watching at one time. While you on here, you need to go to the TatumReport.com. If you guys, not now, you got to finish watching the live stream. But you guys, if you have not heard of the TatumReport.com, it is my website. We have every news story that's breaking news, all the top content that you can get anywhere. You get it right at the Tatum Report, 100% verified, 100% free to you. All the breaking stuff. Breonna Taylor. Nobody had Breonna Taylor's information like we got it. Drew Hernandez. We got Drew on the team. Drew is on the streets getting content and information that nobody else has. Yeah, if y'all don't follow Drew, he gave you the platform. But TatumReport.com, TatumReport.com. Go there, get all the information. I may end up showing you what it looked like. I may go live here, pull Tatum Report into the screen so you guys can see what's going on. But let me finish with this. Let's see. Somebody said something about Sergeant Mattingly. Yeah, we felt like that. Sergeant Mattingly deserved for us to give that shout out, and I hope that he probably texted me right now because his wife is probably passed out looking at $160,000 of donations, and every single donation that you guys donated went directly to him. We don't take none of that donation money. That goes to Sergeant Mattingly, and we definitely appreciate it. One of these days, and probably coming soon, we're going to have our own donation website, and it's going to be called the Tatum Fund. We're going to be able to do these things more often. We'll be able to get it to you, give you. Hopefully, we can work it out so we can get a tax credit for donating. We'll work all that stuff out. But we are going to combat the. I know I'm jumping subjects. We're going to combat this GoFundMe stuff. They banned Sergeant Mattingly's GoFundMe. Do y'all know that? Do y'all know that they banned Sergeant Mattingly's GoFundMe? How is it that Kenneth Walker, who shot Sergeant Mattingly, how is it that he get to put a GoFundMe up and Sergeant Mattingly can't have a GoFundMe up? How is that possible? I remember when Candace Owens had a business owner, they tried to attack the business because they were pro-Trump. Candace Owens put a GoFundMe out, they shut it down. The kid, I don't want to say his name because I don't want them to take me off here right now. Y'all know the kid out there in the street having to handle business, people attacking him defending himself. He put his stuff on there, they shut it down. How is it that they won't let the people speak? If people want to donate to this person, they should be able to donate to him. But you can be a crook, you can be high on methamphetamine and fentanyl, you can fight the police, you can shoot at the police, you can do all kind of felonious things, including Antoine Rose, who did a drive-by shooting before he got killed by the police. And then the last person was Jacob Blake. How does he get his thing on there? He assaulted a woman, he assaulted the police officers, and he tried to go get a knife. He put everybody's lives in danger. He can get a GoFundMe. Millions of people. We're going to have a funding site where millions of conservatives and people who have common sense will be able to have an opportunity to donate to people that they trust, or through people that they trust, to people that deserve it. 100%. And some of y'all that just watching me or just subscribing to the channel, just finding me on here, don't know that we raised $300,000 for Secoria Turner, the young girl that got killed in Atlanta they thought it was a targeted attack, but it was a shootout between two knuckleheads that happened to be black, and they end up killing the girl. She died in her mom's arms. Shout out to Tyler Perry, because Tyler Perry covered the funeral, but she had like $6,000 in her GoFundMe. But Jacob Blake got millions or hundreds of thousands. She had 6,000. Us on this channel said we had enough. We're not finna go down like that. That little girl's family need help. She has other kids to take care of. She probably have to get another car. They took her phones, all of those things. $200,000 worth of donations. And let me say this. That was in 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours. Sergeant Mattingly, 48 hours. So 48 hours both times, you guys have came across and done something special for somebody's life. Y'all have no idea what this is going to do for Sergeant Mattingly, a police officer. They don't make a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. I was a cop. We don't make a lot of money. Because when you count how much we make, plus all the taxes, dues, fees, insurance, all that stuff you have to pay, this could be Sergeant Manley's salary in a year or two. I don't know how much they pay sergeants on LMPD, but on my department, this is 2 years salary for a police. This is 2 years salary for a police officer. 2 years. That's an incredible life-changing event. You know, I don't want to tell much about the man's family, but you could do a lot for a family. We're raising this amount of money, and we need to do this stuff for more people, because that's what God has called us to do. Is for us to be generous and to give to those in need. This is what we do. This is what we do. Donating to church, donating to people in need. And I'm a believer that when you give, God will bless you in whatever way. It may not be money. And I'll say this. I know I'm preaching. There's 23,000 people on here. I got to preach a little bit. When you give without an expectation in return, that is a blessing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep it real with you. I would love to have $160,000 in my account, but you give it. You give it. You be generous. This is what you do for other people. I'm just saying. And God will bless you. You ain't got to worry about it. God will bless you. So all the people that gave money, some of y'all gave, I seen $1,000 come through a few times. Some of y'all that have given, just understand that God will bless you in return. That may be your health. That may be finances. That may be relationships. God will bless you if you give, not expecting something in return. Anyway, that's my preaching. It's not going to cost you anything. I'm not going to take a tithe and offering tonight. That's just free to you, free advice that probably will change your life. But anyway, I think that, let me get a couple more of these super chats. Somebody said, Patrick said, how about the 5-year-old boy in, I think, North Carolina? I mean, we got to work. Y'all want to do it? Do y'all want to do it? Now, here's the thing. If we donate to people, I need to verify the kid's family. I need to contact them. I need to make sure I know where the money going, right? I know how Sergeant Manley's where Sergeant Manley's money is going. I've communicated with him so that we can actually make this happen. Sequoia Turner, we communicated with her family first before we did anything. So this 5-year-old boy, let me look into it. If you guys can send me the information on who he is. Let me get in contact with his family. Let me see what they need, and then we'll do it. We'll do a fundraiser, and we can do this for everybody. There's no end. We could do this for everybody that need help. It's going to take us all putting in our fair share, but we can support as many people as y'all want to support. We'll get that working here soon. But anyway, back to President Trump, and I'll finish with this because I don't need to be doing this all day. I think that the next debate, I'm hoping that it's fairer. I'm hoping that they let the president speak. I'm hoping that it's not so combative, meaning that they talk about the issues. We already got the fighting out of the way. We saw Crazy Joe get mad. We saw President Trump start sweating and get mad at Joe Biden. I want to see them clearly articulate their positions. Personally, as a conservative, I know that President Trump is for the people. I know that President Trump is for cutting taxes. He's done more for black people than Joe Biden and Barack Obama could ever dream of. He's done way more. And that's only in the first 3.5 years or so. He has a lot more to go. And I think he's going to revolutionize this country. The shutdown and all that stuff had nothing to do with the president. The states are the ones that shut their state down. They don't have to shut down. The states are the ones that shut their states down. When you look at all these liberal states, they want to shut you down clean past November. They want you to shut down forever. Now, when you see that Florida just opened up, hopefully Arizona follows suit. Doug Ducey, if you're watching this, I want you to grow a pair and open us up here. Yeah, I said it. And if I saw you in person, I'll tell it to your face. You need to open up Arizona. And if people want to sit home, wear your mask. Like Joe Biden's wife wearing a mask on the stage. They live together. Wear your mask. Stay in the house. Don't go to the gym. You can go to the grocery store, but you can't go vote. Explain to me how that makes any sense. You go to the restaurant, you wear the mask, you might as well do this. Because you wear the mask past the front, and then you go sit down and take the mask off. Everybody's sitting in there sucking the same air with no mask on. 30, 40 people. They sitting at the bar, no mask. And y'all act like this is just killing everybody. Come on, man. Keep it 100. If you can go to Home Depot, you can go in that voting booth. Put your mask on, go in there if you're scared. We are grown adults. If I want to die from COVID, then I go down like that. And I'll never forget. I was in the car with Herman Cain talking to him. We were talking about the COVID and everything. And he said, look, when it's my time, it's my time. I'm going to be free. When it's my time to go, when God called me home, then God called me home. That man wasn't sitting there worried about who did what, where he lived his life. He made a decision. And every American person should be able to make that decision. If the beds are overrun, then the people who made the decision to get sick, then you ain't got a bed, then that's just your end. That's what's going to happen to you. But we need to be able to make that decision on our own. You're not my daddy. You don't know what's best for me. If I'm healthy, I'm active, and I don't have pre-existing conditions, I don't have comorbidities, then there's nowhere in the world I need to be putting a mask on everywhere. Maybe I want to take hydroxychloroquine. Let me do me. You do you. I don't understand how these governors haven't gotten it. Make me want to run for governor one day. I wonder will y'all vote for me if I ran for governor. You better vote for me. You at least say yes. No, I'm just playing. But anyway, thank y'all for joining the Tatum Squad. If you haven't joined the Tatum Squad, jump on there, join the Tatum Squad. You hit that join button. You'll be on the Tatum Squad. We're going to do some great things with the Tatum Squad as well. But one important thing that I want you guys to do, because, you know, you can be involved in multifacets. Tatum Report. Now, let me fix this screen because I want to show y'all what Tatum Report look like. I don't want to just talk about it. I want to show you, just in case you haven't been there. And then we're going to get back to Trump. But I want to show y'all what the Tatum Report look like. I think I need to have my screens over here. Did we fix this? Did we fix this yet? Sean, did the screens go this way? Let me see. I'm going to go to Tatum Report. Let me screen share. There you go. Boom.
Good.
Boom. TatumReport.com. So if y'all haven't seen this, this is what it looks like. We decided because Drudge was going far left, in my personal opinion. I seen it with my own eyes. Everything they do is anti-Trump. Because what Drudge was doing, we said, you know what? We need to give conservatives a voice and allow them to have news consistently. So up here at the top, Breonna Taylor. If you don't know what happened in Breonna Taylor's case, we got it here or here, whichever one you want to click on. If you don't know what happened in Breonna Taylor's case, you need to click on it. We have the whole write-up. You click here, boom, this is the report. This is the report that they want you to not see. They don't want you to see this. They don't want you to see these documents about Breonna Taylor. Investigation, if you go with me, from 2016. Investigations, pictures, dope boy pictures, vehicles, surveillance vehicles of Jamarcus Glover pulling up, going in the house, coming out the house with a package in his hand. Y'all know what time of day it is. Don't act like you don't know. All this evidence. This is all evidence that we obtained at TatumReport.com that they don't want to show y'all. Now let's go back to the Tatum Report. So you go down. This is exactly how it works. You go down. You got the links there. It looks small on this screen because obviously I have a shrunken computer. Somebody told me how to make the screen bigger. Maybe I should make it bigger for you. But on your cell phone, obviously it looks a lot bigger. I'll zoom it in for you. So this is pretty much what it is. You go down. The best stories on the planet, well-written stories, all here for you right here. When you wake up in the morning, just go to these. These are the trending. Every day you wake up, you say, what's going on in America? What do I need to know? How am I going to get fair news that I know people are that have taken the time to write these stories that have been fair, articulate, and on point? Boom. That's your trending right here. Then we have the big stories right here. Joe Biden. Y'all know Crooked Hillary. I don't know how she's not in prison. Crooked Hillary is on there. And then we have more and more information. You can go down. You can get all these articles. I think we put now, I don't know how many articles a day, 30 plus? 26 articles, 26. We're putting out 26 news articles a day. Blue Line stories. We got the ones right here, the Blue Line section. So when you go down, you'll see B. Tatum's videos. And then right under that is the Blue Line section. This is all law enforcement. All the law enforcement news that you want is right here for you. So this is Tatum Report. And if you want to go to the store, boom, you just click on that link right there. But this is how you guys get to that point. This is how you win with the Tatum Report. All right, let me go back. All right, y'all. So I think that I have articulated my response, my reaction to the Joe Biden, President Trump debate. I'm looking forward to the next debate. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned because I'm gonna do a live after that debate. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go on and subscribe right now and hit the subscribe button. I think we should have at least 1,000 more subscriptions. We normally get 1,000 subscriptions every time we go live. So go on and subscribe, hit the bell to get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. And I'm gonna try to answer these last super chats. And I'll try to keep answering them. And hopefully y'all let me get out of here because if you keep asking the super chats, I'm gonna have to answer them. Let's see. Sweet Tea, thanks so much for the super chat for the channel, my friend. I feel like Trump was attacked by two people tonight. 100%. Trump was debating the moderator and Trump was debating the moderator and he was debating Joe Biden. Let's see. D-Dad, I don't know what it is. Twist, thank you for being that cop I grew up around. Appreciate it. Bob, thanks so much for joining us, the Tatum Squad. Jimmy, shutting things down makes us sick in many different ways. We need to open up our country. That was the point I wanted to make. Let me get a couple super chats in. That was the point I wanted to make, that Trump did a great job by saying he want to shut it down. I'm going to keep it open. Let's see. Spam with the MAGA hat offer on your site. It takes on my order with knowledge. So far, they are offering me stuff I want instead of refund. I like, if we can get a refund. Hit me if you got any problems on my store. Go to the support at theofficertatumstore.com. Support at theofficertatumstore.com. I can't even understand what you're saying on the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. But go to support at theofficertatum.com if you have any issues. We got a refund policy on there, so just read it, and we'll take care of you. Trust me. If you look at the thousands of reviews, we'll take care of you if it's genuine, if it's realistic. Okay, let's see. Marissa, thanks so much for the super chat. New York for Trump 2020, drain the swamp, 100%. James, thanks so much for the $50 super chat. Vicky, thanks so much for joining the Tatum Squad. Duck Diesel, COVID during election year, no coincidence, 100%. Jamie Hunt, Trump had the best line. I did more in 47 months than you did in 47 years. 100, that was funny. We got to cut these up and put them out here. Let's see, Mike, a great debate between Wallace and Trump. But there was some old guy mumbling, shut up in the corner. That's true. I ain't gonna even lie. Let's see, American Man. Thanks so much for the super chat. Have you heard about King Faye's death? Yeah, I did. It was very sad. I'm like, I may have to make a video about it. I didn't know King Face that well, but what I've known of King Face, he was cool to me, man. He was a real dude. He was going out fight for what's right. He lost his life this morning. For what, how, I don't know. Last thing I heard was he had some kidney issues and he lost his life. And there are some people who out here trashing him. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're a coward. That's all I need to say about that. All right, let's see. I'm trying to keep up with y'all super chats. Y'all going too fast. Let's see. Frantic. The whole thing was absolute setup. Biden was a deer in the headlights waiting to be guided. Trump was giggling at the BS. 100%, man. Everybody know that Trump was debating both of these people. Thank y'all for joining the Tatum Squad. I think a few of y'all joined the Tatum Squad. Let's see. I think that's Too Shiny. With the name Trump, I think Trump is a miracle and warning from God if we don't turn back to God. 100%. Let's see. Not a boy. Trump said, go ahead. Name one, Joe. We got time. Joe didn't have not one law enforcement agency back him that even Joe Biden could name. Let's see. Yuri, my wife said Biden looks like Casper the Ghost because he had been in the basement the whole time. 100%. They've been preparing him for this debate the whole time. He hadn't been doing no rallies or nothing. Let's see. August, can't believe Biden admitted his son was addicted to coke. Too bad he didn't tell the rest of it. Wish Trump had brought up everything with Ilhan Omar. 100%, y'all. I don't know why Trump didn't bring up Ilhan Omar. Maybe he didn't know the facts about it. But I wish Trump would have said something about Ilhan Omar. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Christina, thanks so much for the super chat. Richard, should we allow third party to debate in presidential debates, regardless of how they do in polls? Nah, it's too late. It's too late. Let's see. Much love from Spokane. I love Spokane, Washington. I've been there a couple times. Let's see. Trump 2020. Thank you, B. Tatum, for all the truth and good videos, bro. Appreciate it. Christina, do you think Trump avoided denouncing white supremacists or was sidetracked? I mean, I don't know. I ain't gonna even lie. Like, I don't know if Trump was just not trying to go down that path. Was he not trying to condemn white supremacists? Clearly, Trump is not a racist. I think that what he was doing was, this is what I think Trump did with the white supremacist thing, because I wanted him to just say white supremacists suck. But I think that what he was saying is that, no, you're not going to make me say something. I don't have to condemn white supremacists when I've been condemning in my whole life. You're not finna back me in the corner and say, oh, you need to say something right now for help I hold your peace. Because then that make you guilty of saying, okay, now I got to come out and denounce. I don't need to denounce. Like, I don't have to denounce the KKK. If somebody said, Brandon, denounce the KKK. Bruh, are you serious? Are you serious? I got to denounce the KKK. It like goes without saying. That's like saying denounce child molesters. Like, are you serious? I don't have to. That goes without saying. Nobody likes them. But I think Trump was in the middle of saying, look, you're not finna punk me and make me say whatever you want me to say because you're trying to make a political jab. And then I think he got diverted and he never picked back up on it. Biden didn't look at Trump while stating his so-called facts. Wallace and Biden were disrespectful and very interruptive towards the president. I think 100% they was. How do you join Tatum Squad? There's a join button somewhere on my page. Hit the join button. Heather, thanks so much for joining Tatum Squad. Andrea, thanks so much for the super chat. And see, not a boy. Is it just me, or did Biden keep looking into the camera like he is highly paid evangelical preacher, just like the entire DNC Hollywood moment? I thought Joe Biden was reading off something. I ain't gonna lie, like I could be wrong, but I felt like every time Joe Biden looked to the camera to look at the people, I saw his eyes kind of tracking. Now, I don't think that he would be able to pull that off without other people seeing it, but it was weird. I felt like he was talking, and he'll look at the camera, and he was attentive. And I feel like I saw his eyes tracking like this. They weren't going long, they were going short. So I don't know. Maybe that's just the way when you look at the camera, maybe your eyes just naturally do that. But that's kind of what I thought, man. I was like, oh, that don't make sense. It looked like he reading something. Let's see, Kay. The first Dem debate was June 2019. Charlottesville, August. Biden was retired, but very fine. People made him get in the race, but didn't happen yet. Oh, I see what you're saying. I think y'all saying that Joe Biden claimed that he was getting in the race before the Charlottesville thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm confused by it. I can't read, and I'm confused. Matt, thanks so much for joining the Tatum Squad. Let me say something about. I got a video that I put out. Man, y'all going too fast with the super chats. I can't keep up with them. Let's see. Since I didn't think Biden was going to show up, I thought he did fine. Trump won, and Wallace came in second, and Biden came in third. That's funny. Corinne, she thought that Joe Biden did better than she thought he was going to do. I think I said that right. Let's see. Sharon, thanks so much for the $100 super chat. If he would have denounced, I think they would be saying, see, those are Trump's people doing that rioting. Yeah, I think it's like I said, it's like telling Brandon Tatum to denounce pedophiles. Like, I mean, like, bro, you gonna play me? Like what are we even talking about? Like, nobody's even talking about white supremacists at this point. Liam, thanks so much for the super chat. Love from Australia. Trump was on fire. Shuddering Joe Biden got no chance, man. We got to pray for Trump. Do you know about the situation in LA with John MacArthur and his church against the county? I do know. I know a lot about that situation. I got it. It's like an off topic. I don't know what you expect me to say about that one, but I know some about that situation. I'm mixing up pastors. Let's see. CN. Don't understand why he asked if you would denounce militias in the Second Amendment. We're supposed to have ready militias. I think Biden had an earpiece. No way he could have done as well as he did without help. No chance, earpiece. I mean, I know he was that fool can't even do a one-on-one interview without talking on a teleprompter. So I thought he did. I thought he was gonna croak. I thought he was gonna croak and pass out on stage, but he didn't. That was shocking. Let's see, Mike Ross. Thanks so much for the super chat. Why did it seem like the Minneapolis Harvesters got the Chris Wallace tonight, cutting Trump off only on important topics? Sad time. I mean, they started out with no audio, and then all of a sudden they drew the audio, and then Trump is debating Chris Wallace. But anyway, I think I've articulated my points on this particular debate. I think Trump did a good job. I think Joe Biden did better than everybody thought he would, because I thought he'd quit and or have a stroke at the debate, but he didn't. I'm sad to see that Trump was debating Chris Wallace as well. Terrible moderator. He gets a 0 in my category. Go on. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the push notifications for TatumReport.com. TatumReport.com. The link is in the description section. I'll put it in there after the video. I think I got to put it in. I forgot.
Merrick Garland, but the problem
Biden,
is they
don't
didn't
do
have
this.
the
It didn't
election.
work for Hillary with the sign.
They were stopped. And
You know,
probably that
like
would happen.
Chinese
in reverse
acting, you know
also.
what I'm talking about.
Definitely would happen. in
I do.
reverse. So we won the election, and we have the right to do it, Chris.
President Trump, thank you.
Yes.
Same
Jeez.
question to you, Vice President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this and looking forward to this, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Joe.
The American
Sounds sick.
people
He does.
have a right to have a
Little
say
raspy.
who the Supreme Court nominee is. And that say occurs when they vote for a United States senators and when they vote for the President of the United States.
They did.
They're not going to get that chance now because we're in the middle
they
of an
did.
election
They voted
already.
for the president, and they voted for the
Election
same
has
party and
already started.
added seats in the last 3
Tens of
midterms for
thousands of
Republicans.
people
4 years.
That's the whole point.
That's the term. I
And
thought
so
it was
the
4
thing that
years.
should happen.
I didn't think
we
it was
should
like
wait.
almost 4 years.
We should wait and see what the
You can't
outcome of
count
this
that high
election
because
is.
you can only count on
That's
his
the
right
only way
hand.
the American people get to
The other one's their
exchange
sister.
their view is by who they elect as president, who they elect as vice president. Now,
Welcome
what's at stake
again.
is the president's made it clear he wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act.
Hi,
He's
DJ.
been running on that.
Yes.
He ran on that, and he's
Thanks so much. I just had to throw a few comments in
Oh, that's fine.
I just-
Affordable Care Act,
because I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to let this go by without making some comments. But I'm just thinking that,
Keep in mind, the Affordable Care Act.
yeah, I was thinking, okay, we're starting out pretty good, and then we came off the rails a little bit. But I still think I think Biden got crushed. I knew he was. He still got crushed, even after all of that. He still got
Well,
crushed.
Well, me talking to a Democrat right now told me they need a new moderator. So there you go. You know,
You're
You
talking
should
to a
kinda
Democrat
debate
right
Trump.
now.
yeah.
You're
Yeah,
talking
you
to a
should-
Democrat.
Yep, I'm messaging them right now. A liberal, you know. I just like to give the other perspective, you know, on what he thought about it. He watched it also. I shared our stream, and then he watched it also with us. And yeah, he was like, I don't know what's going on with the moderator, but he can't keep control himself or both of them. You need to get a new guy. I'm like, of course. You're trying to debate Trump. Like, come on.
Justice Ginsburg
That's your
said
job.
Very powerfully, very strongly. At some point,
Yeah, it's it was
she said a president.
a clown. It was he was clownish.
President's elected for 4 years. We're not elected for 3 years. I'm not elected for 3 years.
So yeah.
We have a president elected during that period of time. During that period of time.
She's trying to stay cool around here.
I'm not elected for 3 years. I'm
Mhm.
elected for 4 years. And the 100 million people, the 100 million people is totally wrong. I don't know where you got that number. The bigger problem that
Oh my God, is that Crowder? It was like, yeah, I was like, Crowder, what? You go back to your quarter until I tell you to come out.
True. Well, you're certainly going to socialist. You're going to socialist.
We're now into open discussion.
Open discussion.
And one thing I realized, people say, well, he avoided the white supremacy thing. He didn't. He actually said, well, finish the full statement. Then the moderator came in and tried to cut him off.
Well, see, Chris Wallace cut him off every time he was blasting him. He would cut him right off in the middle of a response. And then that's the thing. Trump told him, he said, tell me who you want me to denounce.
And Trump has already said,
Stop straw man. Stop with the straw man. Say who you want. Stop it. It is a straw man argument. It is, because they won't tell you who in the hell are you talking about. Specifically, who are you talking about?
In fact, approved of.
Are you talking about a ghost of the past? Are you talking about a ghost that shows up every 6 months? Are you talking about a ghost that shows up every 9 to 12 months? Who are you talking about? He put it back on them, but that's not going to be. But for some people that are color coded in the brain, that's all they're looking for.
You've had 308,000.
But he didn't ask him to denounce BLM or Antifa. You see what I'm saying? They just.
That is a drinking moment. When they do the healthcare debate, the VA.
He denied that Antifa was anything. These people are so full of it.
You would have been much later, Joe.
Mr. President,
You're talking about 2 million people.
You're not President as a moderator.
Yeah, I actually have a timeline.
We
We
were
went
going
through
to
it
talk
last
about
time.
Amazing.
Joe Biden during COVID.
I'll be right back when we get a beer.
As to what Donald Trump did, January 31st, they announced the Chinese travel restrictions. February 24th, Pelosi was saying you should flock to Chinatown. February 29th, they had a level 4 travel advisory to areas of Italy, South Korea, Europe. And Joe Biden was nowhere to be seen. March 15th. Then he was gone. He appeared on March 15th,
and then poof.
And then his own advisor, Simone Sanders, went on CNN and said that the CDC said it was safe for 50 or more people to gather. He was gone.
Yeah.
He had nothing to say for months.
Right into the basement. On healthcare.
It's just amazing.
All right, Mr. President,
Put a capital A.
we'll hear a case a week after the election in which the Trump administration, along with 18 state attorneys general, are seeking to overturn.
Hang on just 1 minute, DJ. I'll be right back.
All right.
If I may ask my question, sir. Over the last 4 years,
you should know
promised
you've outpaced your premiums by 9,000%.
But you have never in these 4 years.
What's my deductible? Doesn't matter as long as it's less than 200 grand per quarter.
Obamacare. Well,
It takes a small pharmacy fee to trot out on this stage. JFK's got nothing on me.
That is absolutely a big thing. That was the worst part of Obamacare. Chris, that was the worst part of Obama.
Let me ask my question.
Well, I'll ask Joe. The individual mandate was the most unpopular aspect.
We can't really hear it.
Oh, they froze.
They froze already. CNN stream froze already.
I think he's got to be careful right
I think he has to be careful.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has to be careful. He needs to not interrupt the
sure.
the moderator right now. Again, this is what people are waiting for him to do.
Yeah.
He should just wait for his spot,
Yeah.
pick his spot once he gets a question, and he can answer. Because Joe Biden is not doing very well. He sounds really sick. Is it just me?
He's got a raspy voice. It sounds very gravelly. It's lower, it's slower, and it seems as though he's trying to speak in a way that prevents it from cracking, right? Like he's got some, something going on, an upper respiratory type deal.
Right.
But I'm right with you there. I think that the president there is flirting with a little bit of, he's got all this information that he wants to present, but it's not just that you have the information, it's whether or not you can actually present it well. And going after the moderator is not the way.
Do it. Nobody's done it.
We're back. All right, we need to bring up the audio and make sure we're checking chat to make sure the audio is loud enough. And people do watch along with us because CNN has a pretty faulty digital stream. And of course, I know we're going to be speaking a little bit. We want you to hear the context, but hopefully provide some fact checking.
I had to switch to ABC.
What we're doing, prescription drug prices, we're going to allow our governors now to go to other countries to buy drugs because they pay just a tiny fraction.
This is open discussion.
No, but this is big stuff.
Sir, you'll be happy. I'm about to pick up on one of your points to ask the vice president, which is he points out
Joe
that
Biden
he
has
would like
beady
to
little
add
shark
a
eye.
public
Notice that?
option
It does.
to Obamacare, and the
Lifeless
argument
eyes.
that he makes,
A
and the
doll's
Republicans
eyes.
make, is that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
will
And when he shits
I
his
thought asking the
depends on
question,
those eyes.
it will end.
Party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid.
Well, actually,
Anyone who
doctors
qualifies
do. It's
for
1 in
Medicare
3
would-
doctors
Right.
that they
Yeah.
can bring them. 1 in 3
Medicaid
doctors now don't want to
Because
take
you
Medicare or
will not
Medicaid.
be the public option. The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option. Number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie
Number-
Sanders,
I-
who's
I
far
did-
left, on the manifesto,
Well,
we
you-
call it.
well,
And that
manifesto-
gives you socialized medicine.
Look, hey,
Are you
I'm
saying
not
you
going to
didn't
listen to
agree?
him. The fact of the matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm here standing face
I don't
to
think
face.
it's going to play well for Trump.
Left
But
two days
it's
early,
funny.
you would've lost
But I'm
votes.
getting a
All
kick
you
out of
did
it.
was on
He needs to let him hang
You got
himself in his
very
own
lucky
words. He
today.
needs to just shut up.
I
and
got
let Joe
very
talk.
lucky. I mean, you get very lucky tonight as well. And tonight I'm going to
With
make
what?
sure because
With what?
here's the deal. Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agreed-
want to
Hey,
make
wait,
sure.
He had the eyes of a
I
Mako
want to
shark.
make sure.
You ordered last in your class, not first in your
I,
class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that. He has,
You'd be
you know,
surprised.
you pick
You'd be surprised.
the
Go ahead,
wrong
Jim.
guy, the wrong night at the wrong time.
Listen, you agreed with
here's the
Bernie
deal.
Yeah,
Sanders.
so
on
Donald
that
Trump, this is the
manifesto.
wrong strategy for him. This is not a good strategy for Donald Trump. But just sorry, folks, that know they got to be objective. This is an opportunity that Donald Trump has to reach viewers who didn't tune into the town hall. This isn't going to play well. He needs to give Biden enough room to answer so that he can rebut it.
It's called giving enough rope.
Socialized medicine.
Mr.
I
President.
tell you what, is not for any help for people needing health care because he in fact already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two.
Whoa.
People
Recession. He had unemployment at 3.5% before coronavirus in your blue state lockdowns, dummy. Barack Obama had unemployment over 9% for over a year into the front end of his presidency. Labor force participation, right, actually increased by the most significant amount ever in any single week in 2019. Labor force participation was an all-time low with Barack Obama, where they just thought, well, you know what, it's because boomers are getting out of the workforce. We're never going to have the labor force participation rate come back. Then we realized, oh, no, wait, shitty president.
Whoops. We guarantee pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed... They shouldn't even call
Actually,
it
I love it. I
Obamacare.
want Joe to
Then I had a
interrupt him
choice
just
to
as
make.
much
Do
because
I
it
let my
levels the
people
playing
run it
field.
really well
Yeah.
or badly? If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me. But more importantly, I want to help people. Okay? I said, you got to run it so well.
That's what
And I just had a meeting with them. They said the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive. Premiums are too high, and it doesn't work. So we do want to get rid of it. Chris, we want to get rid of it.
I understand it, sir, but I have to give you roughly equal time. Please let the vice president talk.
Good.
He has no plan for health care.
Of course we do.
He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a health care plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan.
Well, for a man who doesn't have a plan to get the unemployment rate to less than half, to get the average wage growth to more than double or triple, depending on the numbers you use, compared to Barack Obama, to get the black unemployment rate to record low, to get the labor force participation rate going gangbusters to not record highs within a singular period. For a guy without a plan, I guess in that case, sign me up for a guy without a plan as opposed to a shitty one.
Yeah. Seems to be working. But in fact, it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out.
No, you should speak. So you have a microphone, ass, you demented old circus monkey. Whenever I respond, if I actually provide a clear answer,
To your question, if I actually take a position like a guy who sacked up and dropped a pair, it might be a problem for me. I'm trying to shift in really unnoticed, kind of like, with a fire drill where people don't know that I haven't gone out single file. I'm no longer with my homeroom class. I just want to sort of wedge myself in there, go unnoticed. If I say whether I support court packing or not, well, Kamala Harris is just going to be really upset, and I don't need any more pegging.
Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They sure
47 years, you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The second subject is COVID-19.
That is true. 47. I thought it was 48 years.
He's had a plan for
Let's
47
be serious
years.
about it.
He
We have
had the
had
same
more than
bad plan.
7 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, and more than
Chris
200,000
Wallace is like,
people
damn it.
have died. Even after we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or even years before we come back to anything approaching normal.
That's not true.
My question for
Florida's
both of
pretty
you
normal right
is,
now.
based on what you have said,
Yeah, the unemployment rate.
and
That's right.
done
Round
so
2.
far,
Thank
and
you.
Here we go.
Your camera's that way.
starting in 2021. Why should the American people?
You keep spinning around.
We have
your
the worst
opponent
cameraman.
to
You
deal
look
with this
lovely.
Trying to follow
public
her.
health crisis
The camera
going
work is
forward
shoddy.
in
She's
this
so
state?
fast.
It's not your
The
fault.
question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Good luck.
Good luck.
200,000 dead.
Uninterrupted.
As you said, over 7 million infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 5%, 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths. 40,000 people a day.
A huge
are
portion that's going to be
contracting
attributed
COVID.
directly to
In
New
addition
York,
to
New
that,
Jersey, and
about
by the way,
between 70
Michigan.
and
Michigan had
50,000
the
people
worst
there dying.
COVID nursing home
What do you
policy.
want with that
And there's some
number?
information that you may not have, which we'll go over at the state capitol in Lansing on October 2nd, noon.
why
That's
it
going to be a big one. So
president has
Michigan is possibly one of the worst states. But if you eliminate the
hasn't
nursing
laid
home
out
policies,
He knew
really you
all
eliminate a
about the
huge
infection.
portion, a majority of the deaths.
So much better.
He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do?
Ban
He's on
travel,
tape
which you
as
call
acknowledging
xenophobic.
He knew
Yeah.
it.
You demented
He
old
said he
circus
didn't
monkey.
tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic.
All
and
right,
that.
I got to go through this
You
timeline
don't
again
panic.
with the COVID.
You can't.
Okay, let me make
In
sure I
addition
get
to
this
that,
right, just
what
so
did
I
he
don't
do?
forget it, because I don't want to be fact checked.
We were insisting that the Chinese,
You guys can keep it up there until I get through the
China
timeline.
should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was. He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told us what a great job Xi was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then?
As
He then
late as
did
March,
nothing. He
your
waited and
buddies,
waited
de
and waited. He still
Blasio
doesn't
and
have a
Nancy
plan.
Pelosi, were
I
telling
laid
people
out
to
our
go eat
plan.
dumplings in Chinatown and
Yes.
go to movie theaters.
Come on
I have this right
down. I
here,
laid
March
out the beginning
2nd,
of July.
long after he banned
We should
travel
be
from
providing
China
all the-
Yeah, and we knew a
Bad
lot
luck.
more on March
We
2nd
should
than we
be
did.
and declared it a national emergency.
Yeah.
in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open schools. It cost a lot of money. You should get out of your
I don't have
bunker
anything
and get
from
out of the
Biden on
sand
COVID.
trap.
He did
and get
nothing.
into
He was
the
completely
He did
quiet.
nothing other than
Go
criticize
to
Donald
Oval
Trump.
Office
He
and
did
get
nothing
the
at any
That's
point.
Democrats,
that's not what a leader
Republicans,
does, by the
and
way.
fund
You don't
what
just sit
needs
on the
to be done
sidelines
to
and just
save
throw
lives.
hot shots at a guy.
So,
You go, here's
if
what
we
we should have been
would've
doing.
listened to you-
You have 2
Lay out a
minutes, sir.
plan. None of them have.
If
Let's
we
hear
would
it.
have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000. And one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened.
China.
They stopped it
Drink.
from going
China,
in,
drink,
but
sorry.
it was China's fault. And by the
China,
way,
drink
when you
again.
talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died
Yeah.
in China. You don't know how many people died in
Yeah.
Russia. You don't know how many people died in India.
I'm gonna
They
too
don't
much.
exactly
I'm
give
gonna
you
be a
straight count,
coronavirus
just so
death
you
if he keeps
understand.
saying China.
But if you look at what we've done, I closed it and you said he's xenophobic. He's a racist and he's xenophobic because you didn't think I should
unrelated
have
to
closed
your
our
COVID.
country.
Wait, no, just
Wait a
start.
minute.
It's his 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said, President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of you Democrat governors said, President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked
True,
with the
Gavin
governors.
Newsom,
Oh, really?
and even
Go
back
take
then
a look.
Cuomo said it would be hard to
Governors
imagine a
said I
president
did a
doing
phenomenal
more than
job.
Donald
Most
Trump
of
has
them
in
said
the states
that.
with COVID.
In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side
Then he pierced
said
his
that.
nipple.
President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators. And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics
Also,
already.
keep in mind they had to
Fewer
replenish the
people are
federal
dying when they
stockpile
get
that was
sick.
depleted by the
Far
Obama
fewer
administration.
people are dying.
Who was in the
Who was vice
Obama?
president?
They walked in, and the only thing left was a crumb too small for a mouth.
You say to them, they give you bad
But
press
it was
on
a
it's just
giant
fake
storage
news.
unit, though.
They
You can do
give
a lot
you
with
good
that.
press.
Hey,
They give you
small
bad press
press.
because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care. I've got
I'm
news.
hungry. Sorry, I was hungry. I still might have to order some food.
I just finished my barbecue wings.
The coach is back there.
I know how to get the job.
Did you make those?
I baked them. It was already baked, but it didn't have no sauce on them, so I rebaked them.
There was no economic recession.
You made
Right.
a point. Let him answer.
And
But
there's no,
I done that.
there's no, we didn't shut down the economy. This is his
What?
economy.
What? Your party did shut down the economy. It is the blue states that have been shut down. By the way, unemployment in New York is up as high as 40%.
So you got his ass.
You know, we'll have all of this available on the website afterward, but all of this can be confirmed. The states that have had the most severe lockdowns have had the worst virus spread. Okay, there is no real there's no correlation between lockdowns working. And I don't want to claim the opposite. If you don't have a lockdown, it works. But certainly, if you look at Texas and Florida, it's a third that of states like New York. It's less than half that of states like Michigan. And then if you look at the unemployment, it's double, triple, quadruple in the blue states. They have higher deaths, they have higher mortality, and they have higher unemployment. When he says we didn't shut down the economy, you tried to shut it down now. I get it with swine flu because swine
They're
flu
still
wasn't
trying to
done.
shut it down.
Check. Okay,
Yep.
I gotta go back to
That's in progress.
Gentlemen, let me move on to
Reg, I think that was a
questions
lie.
about the future because you both have touched
14,000
on
that
one of
number.
two of the questions
Pull up
I'm going to ask.
the flu years.
No, I'm pretty sure
Focusing on
swine
the
flu was
future,
somewhere around
President Trump,
14,000.
Was it?
You have
Yeah,
repeatedly,
but it was also
There was
tough
nothing
because
Chris
they
Wallace is a turd.
flu was a swine
It's
flu.
not a
death as
direct
well,
comparison.
which is what's happening with
the
COVID.
head of
Yeah.
the Centers
thought
for
it was
Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available.
Well, if Reg finds
to
that, you can let us
the
know. But I
public.
think that
You
sounds
said that
about
he was
right.
confused and mistaken. Those were your two words.
Yeah.
But Dr. Slawi, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives. It is a very political thing. I've spoken to
Who
Pfizer.
was it? Can we
I've
have Reg
spoken
Bennett tell me who
all
was it who
of
said
the
they wouldn't
people that
trust
you
the
have to speak
vaccine
to. We
before
have
the
great
election?
Moderna, Johnson and Johnson.
Was it
Yeah,
Biden or was it
remember that.
Newsom?
They can go faster
there were a
than
few
that
people
by a
who said that,
lot.
right?
Yeah, a couple folks.
Become
There were a
very
couple people who
political
said they
because
wouldn't trust the
the left
vaccine
or
solely
whatever
because
vote
it happened before the election. It might have been Kamala Harris, Newsom, or Joe Biden.
Except the drug companies came out and said we will likely have something in
And he didn't
October.
say that. He said it
Maybe
could
not
be there, but it
widely
could also
available.
be much sooner.
Well, you're
I had
supposed
him
to
in my
trust Big
office 2
Pharma
days
when
ago.
they say that we should shut down the economy, but not trust them when it actually happens to be in their wheelhouse in developing drugs.
The answer before
When it comes to the
November
economy,
1st,
trust the
it could also
pharmacist.
be
When it comes to
after that.
pharmacology,
Well,
trust
we're
Joe
gonna
Biden.
deliver it right away. We have the military all set up logistically. They're all set up. We have our military that delivers soldiers, and they can do 200,000 a day. They're going to be
This is
delivering
the
the
same man
It's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
by Easter this would be gone away. By the warm weather, it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle.
Reg said it
By the
was
way, maybe
Kamala
you could
Harris.
get
It was
some
Kamala
bleaching
Harris.
around. That would take care of it. This is the
That
same
was
man.
said sarcastically.
That was
you
him.
know that.
I-
that
I-
was said
And
sarcastically.
so here's the deal. This man is talking about a vaccine. Every serious company is talking about maybe having a vaccine done by the end of the year, but the distribution of that vaccine
No, that's not true.
will not
That is
occur
not
until
true. There are
sometime
several
beginning or
companies that have
middle of
talked about
next
having a
year. Get it
vaccine
out.
done by
If we
October, or
get
at
the
least an
vaccine
answer by
and
October.
pray
Third phase
God
There are
that
several
will.
that have said third phase trial will be done by October, which means they can give an answer to the American public.
Right.
These people don't want an answer before October.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Listen, if a new
Pfizer
drug comes,
CEO,
yeah, Pfizer CEO, if a new drug comes on the market, right, and it's approved, it's made it through phase 3 trials where there's basically just some paperwork to be done and
Right.
red tape to cut through, which, by the way, is what Operation Warp Speed cuts. They make that announcement. Hey, we have a new autoimmune drug that works. Hey, we have a new cancer treatment that they always keep people updated of that of the clinical trial data.
And the biggest criticism is, well, it's not going to be distributed. Well, of course, that's just the way that it works. We're talking about, is there a path to an exit out of the Corona era? And there is. That's when you get the vaccine solved, and then you still have to go through the hurdles of distribution.
Well, they said they wouldn't
but
take a
that's
vaccine
not
if
the
it came
problem.
out, and now they're saying we don't even want an answer before that.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Well,
true.
so
I said, why don't you want the information before election? Oh, I think I know why, Mr. 9% unemployment.
Work for him. Their job doesn't depend on him.
He's
That's not.
Mr.
They're the people.
9%.
And by
I
the way,
spoke to the
and
scientists that are in
by
charge.
the way,
They will have
and
the vaccine very soon.
does you believe for a moment
Yes.
what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID. He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening.
Do you mean lies like, oh, don't wear a mask?
Is anybody not convinced that the Democrats are in bed with freaking China?
What lies do you mean?
2 million are going to die. That lie?
2 million are going to die. Okay, 2 million aren't going to die. What do you mean? Which lies, Joe?
Which
there
lies?
are lies, and there is changing information. And the experts have been wrong about everything. Everything as it relates to COVID.
From
the
the
only
beginning.
person more wrong.
Wear a
than
mask,
the
don't wear a
scientific
mask.
experts who the
They
left
didn't know.
wants to tout are Democratic.
Masks are bad.
If you want to save the most
Now masks are
vulnerable,
bad
most
again.
They still don't know.
you would do the exact
In 6 months, they won't know.
Michigan and New York are doing. Because guess what? If we keep this never-ending lockdown and
We got a lot of incompetent people.
3, 4, 5 months from now, I would say.
I mean, really, they should have released Fauci and Birx. They should have been released a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, you're off the project, man. You're off the project. All thing I got out of was, come on, man. Here's
Come
the
on,
deal.
man.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Look,
Yeah, look.
firstly,
Here's the
and
deal.
secondly, and thirdly,
Here's the deal. Here's the deal, folks. Here's the deal. Come on, you got something else?
come on, man.
What's the deal, Joe?
What is it? To provide these
If I were running, you said because he's under the plan, and then he said because if I were
My
running,
gosh, I cannot believe how hot it is right now. It's
Oh, wow.
amazing. It's clearly amazing.
And by the way, Nancy
Way
Pelosi,
amazing.
they have a plan.
yeah, it's eating dim sum in Chinatown. Come
on,
on.
He sits in the golf course.
Sorry, that was late February. It was de Blasio in March who said go to theaters. But you know what? I mean, tomato, grandpa's dead.
Right.
And I want to keep it open. And we did a great job by shutting it down. Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut you down for a second, Joe. He wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly
I tell you,
people
we're gonna have more fun. And what is it, a week from now? We're gonna see Kamala.
very, very vulnerable.
Kamala.
We learned a lot. Young children
Right.
aren't.
And in New York, and worst
even
of all in
younger
Michigan,
people
they send
aren't. We
young
learned a
sick
lot.
patients into
But
the
he wants to
yeah.
shut it down.
Right.
More people
Send the young
will be
sick
hurt
kids to
by
the old
continuing.
people
If
and
you
let
look
them
at
die.
Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons
By the
they
way,
shut down is
Pennsylvania,
because they want to keep it shut
68,
down
and I
until
do
after
appreciate
the
because unlike
election.
Michigan, they were actually accurate in their numbers and did a full accounting. 68% of all their deaths are seniors, nurses, and all.
It's hot, Jesus.
Canada, it was 80%. Michigan, they said, well, it's 34%. Guess what? Lie, October 2nd, Lansing State Capitol. It's going to be, I hope you have your barn burning shoes. Not flag burning shoes. Not flag burning shoes. Barn burning shoes. Yeah.
Leaders touching their mouths and touching
Like the
plates.
Patriot.
Are you questioning
No, I think the masks are
efficacy
okay.
of
You have to
masks?
understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put
Props.
a mask on.
Prop.
You know,
You
I
did
feel
it.
like I need it.
You did it.
Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test. and
It's
you've
like, can
had
Harris bring up
social
that
distancing,
Belt Mallet and Judge
I
Mallet?
wear masks when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from me. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say,
No, that's just his face.
Go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the
Look,
wherewithal. to be able
look.
to- We provided money. The
But
Congress.
I was asking you, sir, about
Look.
masks.
Well,
This is a
masks-
perfect example of
masks-
Mask. Oh, mask.
If
Damn.
you
I'm
think
on the wrong
something else
topic.
was
Mask.
$1,000, what was the relief? Did it end up being
We were talking about the economy.
$100? If you think that supports a business, for example,
6 months.
let's say a business like this with 15 employees, you are out of your tree, sir.
Hey, out of here, Jesus.
Person said the opposite.
No,
serious.
Bill Gates,
Dr.
huge
Fauci.
supporter of the Democratic Party, by the way, said we should lock everything down until there's a vaccine. You won't take the vaccine if it comes out before the election.
One last subject, because your different approaches has even
What?
affected the way that you have campaigned.
What's that? What's going on?
President Trump, you're holding large rallies. with
What are you doing?
Outside.
I'm not wearing a cup.
Vice President Biden, you are
Yeah.
holding much smaller.
Yeah, go talk with them. Thank you. Yeah.
People with masks.
Oh, it's strange. Nobody shows up to his
Okay,
rally.
all right. In any case, why you
have
holding
it
the
right
big rallies? Why you not? You goes first, sir.
Because people want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll have 25, 35,000 people show up
come
at
on.
airports. We use airports.
Are you
for
not worried
hangars,
about
and we
the
have a
disease
lot of
issue,
people.
sir?
Well, so far, we have had no problem whatsoever. It's outside. That's a big difference, according to the experts. And we do them outside. We have tremendous crowds.
Remember them,
as you
Joe?
see.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry,
every-
you don't remember
and literally on
anything.
24 hours notice. And Joe does the circles and has 3 people someplace.
Drink, and by the way, I'm going to need another beer here, sir.
Hey.
Drink again
Yeah.
for people who don't remember here.
Stand back.
I'm
Put on
still
your
looking
mask.
forward
Put on
to
your
every
mask.
time you mention this.
I'm way far away from those other people. That's what he said. I can't. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there.
not
breathing
worried
one
about
another.
no negative
Dementia.
No negative effect. We've had no negative effect.
Can't
And
you
we've
hear
had
the
35,
voices?
40,000 people.
guess
Can't
what?
hear
Nobody
the
was forced to go to
voices.
rallies. Nobody like went out and rounded them up and made them go.
That's
They
another thing. Don't you love
chose.
Governor Whitmer? Michigan will be October 2nd. She said, well, yeah, his rallies are a violation of my executive order. Who the hell are you? You think you get to stop people from exercising their First Amendment right outside
Right.
because of a cough?
Namely, the president.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But it's
The
not like it's an
economy
important thing going to hear your
is, I
leaders
think,
speak to you in person, right?
From the shutdown.
Much
This- In the second quarter, the unemployment rate fell to 8.4% last month. The Federal Reserve says the hit to growth, which is going to be there, is not going to be nearly as big as they had expected. President Trump, you say we are in a V-shaped recovery.
Ish.
Vice President Biden, you say it's more of a K-shape.
Biden couldn't even spell
What
V.
difference does that mean
How many
to
lines?
the American people in terms of the economy? President Trump, in this segment, you go first.
So we built the greatest economy in history. We closed
True.
it down
True.
because of the China
True.
plague. When the plague came in, we closed it
wow.
down, which
New
was very
topic, new
hard
round.
psychologically to
Turn it
do.
around.
He
Yeah,
didn't
way.
think we should close it down, and he was wrong. And again, 2 million people would be dead now.
Oh, it's a
instead of
Dubai fight.
still 204,000 people is too much. One person is too much. Should have never happened from China. But what happened is we closed it down, and now we're reopening, and we're doing record business. We had
Right.
10.4 million people in a 4-month period that we've put back into the workforce. That's a record the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And he wants to close down he will shut it down again. He will destroy
He said
this
it.
country. You know, a lot
He
of
did
people
say it,
between
and his entire
drugs
party
and alcohol
supports
and
it. Let's be
depression.
really clear about
When you
that.
start shutting it
Especially,
down, you take a
come
look
on,
at
you
what's
see Joe
happening in some
Biden
of
coming
the
out here tonight.
Democrat-run
This
states
guy
where
looks
they
like
have
he's
these
at death's
tough
door, and he
shutdowns.
sounds like it
And
too.
I'm telling you,
Kamala
it's
Harris said
because
under a
they
Harris
are
administration, she didn't even correct it.
No.
She didn't even have the courtesy of correcting herself. You know, I remember back in the days. You know what? Can Desi Arnaz be resurrected to give that woman a fat lip? Boom, zoom, send her back to at least her place. The VP, she's on the undercard of that ticket. She said that under her administration, it's just, we're at this point where it is unreal. They want to shut down the economy in perpetuity.
Again.
Michigan and a couple of others. You got to open these states up. It's not fair. You're talking about almost it's like being in prison. And you look at what's going on with divorce. Look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's a very, very sad thing. And he'll close down the whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.
All right, your 2 minutes, sir. We're now moved to you. As I said, posing the question, the president says it's a V-shaped recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery. What's
Thank you
the
very
difference?
much.
The difference
Remedial.
is millionaires and
Online
billionaires
degree.
like
Yeah,
him
we're
in the middle of COVID
BVI.
crisis
Yeah.
have done very well.
It's useful.
Billionaires have made another $300 billion
Huh?
because of his profligate tax proposal.
Oh, great. That's the best moment. I'm going to need another
You
beer.
folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the small towns and
You haven't
working
been to
class towns in
Scranton
America.
in 40-something
Holy
years.
This guy paid
Well,
a total of $750 in
Wrong.
taxes.
Sir,
Any
sir,
millions.
wait, no, sir, it's
It's
his
the
two.
wrong
Yeah,
statement.
I understand. You've agreed to the 2 minutes, so please let him have it.
Do I get my time back? The fact is that he
reclaim
has,
my
in
time.
fact, worked on this in a way that he's going to be the first president of the United States.
The average
to leave
wage growth
office.
in the
I
United
mean, fewer
States
jobs
under Donald
in his
Trump in his 3 years is
administration than when he became president.
$5,000.
Fewer jobs. And
It
when
is
he
more
became the first
significant
one
than
in
ever
history.
in
Yeah.
modern
Second,
American
the people who
history.
have lost
That
their
never
jobs
happened under Barack
are those
Obama, and it's
people
even
who
more
are
significant for
living on
African Americans.
Those people who have
That
been
is something
saving
that
our
people
lives,
need to know.
those people who
And
have
also,
gone
by the way,
out
when we're talking about
there,
trade agreements,
people who've been
And the economy, Joe Biden supported NAFTA. Joe Biden supported the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump did away with those. And a big part of this that no one ever talks about when they talk about fighting for 15, I was reading up on some of these rules here, is some key points from the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. Requires 75% of the vehicle's parts to be made from one of those countries. And it requires more vehicle parts and labor take place by workers earning more than $16 an hour. This is what he does.
Yeah.
This is how he helps support the American worker, and you see record wage growth. It affects you. You have paid less in taxes and seen more wage growth. Joe Biden has to lie about that because he knows that Americans are experiencing it.
Yeah.
Safely. You know, they were going to give, his administration was going to give the teachers and school students masks. And then they decided, no, couldn't do that because it's not a national emergency. Not a national emergency.
We got to give them a bill.
To help that small
Anytime
business.
he does it.
Nothing. They're closing.
You got to drink.
1 in 6 is now gone. He ought to get on the job and take care of the needs of the American people so we can open safely.
All right, your time is up, sir.
Has he given any specifics?
No, I've not heard.
Wait, hold on.
You both have
Nope,
2
none.
minutes, sir.
He should do something.
Excuse me.
Let me give you some specifics. The hashtag is Crowder Debate Stream, and it's Crowder Debate Stream. You get $20 off if you join Mug Club at liveofcrowder.com/Mug Club. We haven't had our stream banned tonight, so that's
Not
nice.
yet.
But I fully anticipate it.
Why you got to jinx Sub work too hard today?
I'm sorry.
Recover what they've done in New York. People want their places open. They want to get back to their lives.
People
They'll
want
be
to be
careful,
safe.
but they want their schools open.
People want
I'm
to
the
be
one that
safe.
brought back football. By the way, I brought back Big Ten football.
America.
It
He
was
is
me,
actually.
and
He's not wrong.
I'm very happy to do it.
Yeah, but
And
football has become a commie
Very
sport.
happy to do
very
it.
proud of me. And you know
We're going to
how
get
I
back
got
to
that?
ladies and gentlemen. We're going to
Still,
get to
commies.
your economic plans going
Commies.
forward in a moment. But first, Mr.
I
President,
never thought I'd live to
as you
see
well
the
know,
day
there's
where
a new
American
report
football
that
is
in
gayer than
2016,
soccer.
The year you were elected president in 2017,
It's almost all
your first
sports
year
now.
as president, that you
Something.
paid
I can't see you for your
$750 a
It is
year
really-
in
it's hard on
federal
my head.
income
You can take
tax
it off.
each
I don't
of
know if I
those
can now. My
years.
hair may be messed up.
I
Oh,
know
God,
that
put it
you
on.
pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those
Notice the
2
question,
I
years?
paid
is it true?
millions of
And I'll come
dollars
back to
in
this in a
tax,
second.
millions of dollars of income tax.
Rachel
And
Maddow,
let me
remember she had
just
her
tell
big
you,
reveal?
there
That it was
a
in
story in one of the
2005, Donald
papers.
Trump only paid 38 million in
$38
taxes.
million
It's like, listen, there's some years where you pay
I paid
tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and there's some years where you have losses of
I
business.
went-
But there's
Right.
more to it than
You'll
that.
see
But
it as soon
that's
as
why I
it's
said, is
finished,
it
you'll
true?
see it.
That's
You
an
know,
important
if you
note
wanna
on that question.
Go to the Board of Elections. There's a 118-page or so report that says everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under leveraged because the assets are extremely
That's
good.
true.
And I built
Sir,
a
I'm
great
asking you a
laughing like-
specific question.
I don't
which
know
is-
Let me tell
money.
you.
I understand all of that.
That's very
I
confusing.
I just take it from other people.
No, Mr. President.
Undeniable.
I'm
He
asking
created
you
at
a
least
question.
100,000 jobs in the
Will
private
you
sector.
tell us how much
Joe Biden,
you
you've only
paid in
cost
federal
American
income
taxpayers.
taxes in 2016 and 2017?
millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars.
Millions of
So
dollars.
not
None of your
$750.
Millions
damn
of
business,
dollars, and you'll get to see it.
I-
And you'll get to
When?
see it. But let me just
Inshallah.
tell you, Chris, let me just tell you
What did he say?
something.
When? What?
When
It
will you
was
get
the
to
tax-
see
When
it?
did Joe Biden say?
I
When
don't
in
know.
July?
When will I
July.
see
In
your
July.
tax
Okay.
information?
I was a private
I never
developer.
saw
I was
yours.
a private business people.
Uh-huh.
Like every other private person, unless they're stupid, they go through the laws, and that's what it is.
True.
He passed a tax bill that gave us all these
Anyone here
privileges
trying to
for
pay more in taxes
depreciation
than
Yeah,
they owe?
exactly.
for
Toss a
Exactly.
few $100 million into the mix.
By the way,
Same
Joe
idea.
Biden has an
Yeah.
S corp to
On
run
Pennsylvania
Joe
Avenue,
Biden's
you
stuff
can-
through his
Which, by
and
the
saves
way,
$500,000 by doing that.
Well, to be
the same
fair,
thing
to
that
be-
Donald Trump does.
To be fair, much like the presidency, Kamala Harris is the main trustee.
Kamala.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Reparations.
Look, the tax code
Look.
that made him,
And you.
put him in a position that he pays less tax than a school teacher
And
make,
you.
on the money a school
False.
teacher makes.
Okay, here's
is
what I will say.
because
He has no substance here. I realized this. I woke up today, and I had a song in my head, but I was just going, wait a second. We talked about this, about tax codes and Americans and employers and
Yeah.
who understands what, how many people have actually had to pay payroll tax versus, Social Security. Okay.
Yeah.
Income
Right.
tax versus corporate tax. Then I realized we skipped past. This came from the New York Times, who had the Russia collusion story. And they said they had the taxes. And now they said, well, by the way, it didn't confirm anything with Russia. And then I realized, wait a second. Do we have any confirmation? Do we have any legitimate source? Do we have any corroboration that this is true?
At all?
None.
None. So I don't even know why
Zero.
we're addressing it. And I swear to you, you might even turn it. I woke up and this is how it came to me. I had a song and you know what it was?
No.
I woke up and in my head, I was like, my head popped off the pillow. And I just watched The Wedding Singer. And it all was bullshit. The New York Times a joke. And when I think of you, Biden, I hope you fucking show.
Oh wow.
Oh my
That was in my head all day.
That was
And then I spent
Yeah,
hours
let's go.
going through it. I realized there's no confirmation for the story of the New York Times. None. And it's made it into a presidential debate. That is the definition of fake news.
Exactly, on every news channel. By the way, the news channel that said that Fox News has no journalistic standards whatsoever. They don't confirm their stories before they go to air.
Amazing.
Than anyone else.
Your thoughts?
Confirmed to me that he got that from the Montreal Planet Hollywood from
DJ, I'm telling you that Biden is running on fear. They need you to need them. They need you to take care of them because they're your only hope. Who wants to? I'm sick of them.
My proposal, we're going to
Sick of their garbage.
Oh, here we go.
They want everybody to surrender the whole thing over to them.
By the way, I'm going
Here we go with the more lies.
number of the tax. I'm going to make the corporate tax 28%. It shouldn't be 21%. You
Why?
have 19.
He just said he was going to eliminate taxes, and then he just talked about raising it 7%.
That's twice he's answered a question he didn't ask.
Making billions of dollars.
Why didn't you do it
Billions of
before
dollars.
you were vice
Because you, in fact,
Well, vice
passed that. That was your tax proposal.
I got it done, and you know what happened?
Yeah, you got it done.
Our economy
Got it
boomed.
done.
It's never boomed.
The economy is
Mr. President, Mr. President, let me pick up on that. You would continue your free market approach,
Yes.
lower taxes, more
Yes.
deregulation, correct?
not lower taxes for American people.
Yes, lower taxes.
Yes, it is.
What was it,
But
Reggie? The
Obama's- you're talking about
1,600 or
economy
1,800?
booming.
The average
It
American
turns out
paid
that
less
in
in
Obama's
taxes
final
across all
3
brackets.
years as president. More jobs were created, 1.5 million.
Not
jobs.
working.
And in the first 3 years of your presidency.
They had the slowest recovery
By far.
since economic recovery since 1929. It was the slowest recovery. Also, they took over something that was down here. All you had to do is turn on the lights and you pick up a lot. But they had the slowest economic recovery since 1929. Let me tell you about the stock market. When the stock market goes up, that means jobs. It also means 401ks.
It may not be
well,
but my God,
If
this is
you
really
became president with your ideas, you want to terminate my taxes, I'll tell you what, you'll lose half of the companies that have poured in here will leave, and plenty
Half
of
of the
companies that are
companies,
already here, they'll leave for
hardly any
other
companies
places.
have-
They will
Hear that
leave,
sound?
and you will have a
That was
depression
That was
the
weird.
likes
Yeah.
of which you've never seen.
Look,
Mr.
we
Vice President.
inherited
Look,
the worst recession short of a
Look,
depression
up
in
or
American
down?
history.
Every time
I
he
was
says,
asked
look,
to
I
bring it
swear.
back. We were able to have an
I got to
economic
say something
recovery
important
that
here.
created the
Any
jobs
person
I'm
who's
talking
done
about.
investing
We handed
in the
it
last 3
in
years,
the
invested in
economy.
real estate,
It
invested in
blew it.
stocks,
It wasn't
invested in the
blowing.
economy, has said during the entirety of the Trump presidency, yeah, no doubt the economy came back. That's how the cycle works. But they've been saying every year since Trump was president, well, it's going to go down next year.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely got to be next
Something
quarter.
else that's really telling,
And it's not.
They claim they inherited a bad economy from George Bush, but
Right.
they never say right now he hasn't said we passed on the economy to Trump. He's saying, oh, the economy is terrible. They go to COVID.
Yeah,
So
they
before
skipped to
COVID,
that.
they tried to say, oh, you know what? Actually, he's only doing well because of our economy, because apparently there's a lag of give or take 4 years, give or take a term.
Yeah, exactly.
But now they're pivoting to, see, look, the economy is bad because of COVID.
Yeah.
3 years
Well, hold on
and
a
a
second. What
quarter
happened?
and then
Wasn't it
COVID.
your economy? They know that they can claim no credit. I can tell you this anecdotally: 2 more hires, Bryce and Angela.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period. As a small business,
And
2
you
more
didn't
hires
fire
because
me,
we can
so that's-
project. Yeah, well, you're just not on the
It
payroll.
was close.
Yeah. You're on thin ice.
We
though.
turned him to volunteer.
What is that email I get? Is that a lie?
Well, yeah, the numbers that you see in your account,
geez.
it's just me doing a screen share with a fake Bank of
Yeah.
America.
problem will work
itself
out.
Mr. Vice President.
And so you take a look at what he's actually done. He's done very little.
A lot.
His trade deals
A lot,
are the same
right.
way. He talks about these
Fuck
trade deals.
you!
You know, he talks about the art of the deal. China,
You beady little asshole! I'm sorry. This is the biggest contrast between the two administrations. This guy supported NAFTA. This guy supported TPP. Donald Trump scrapped them. How do you think you have the lowest
goes
approval
off.
rating of middle-class working American voters? You screwed them. And Donald Trump, the Republican, has rewritten the electoral map. It's not even close. You ship jobs overseas, and you increased taxes on the business owners who were employing those Americans. The guy to your right, my left, on this screen, I assume I don't have the spatial awareness of how it's going on with the Constitution written in the background that Joe Biden likely ignored. The fact is, he knows what has been going on. He has lowered taxes on American businesses, and
force them to meet prerequisites if they want to have the tax breaks. This is a good thing too. He really hasn't had to do all that much as far as tariffs. He's just had to say, hey, listen.
And your feelings on that one, because that's too true.
He just keeps flip-flopping. What one they want to claim credit for the economy when it's politically expedient, but then in the same sentence they want to say that the economy's terrible because of what Trump did. Trump's economics are what's made are why it's bad now. But they left it in such great shape. Everybody knows, and see, that's why another reason they want to win is because they're going to try to take, because it's on its way back. It would go back now, but those Democrat cities are not going to let it.
They don't want to open it back up. They say shut it down.
Well, they go. That's what I'm saying. And Biden, if he does, he is going to shut it down, and there will be no more airplanes. It's the Green New Deal. It's been the Green New Deal.
Mask mandates, no airplanes. It's going to be an alligator. It's going to be an alligator.
In the mud.
Here's the deal. We want to talk
Here's the deal.
about families and ethics.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't want to do that.
All right.
I mean, his family, we could talk about
I don't
all
want to do
night.
it.
His family's already...
My family lost a fortune by coming down and helping us with government.
And that's such a...
Biden's made his fortune in government. Donald Trump and his family have foregone fortune by working for government. Which, by the way, if they're saying Donald Trump hasn't paid anything in taxes, he sure is shitty at funneling money to his own entities as president of the United States, which was the scandal they said we should believe. Is it, hold on a second, is it he's such a crappy business person that he's never paid taxes? Or he's this cunning, evil genius who's become president so that he can increase the value of his businesses? Because the years are talking about him not paying taxes, he was president.
You got to pick one.
No, sir.
With $1 billion, if you
That
get rid
is
of
absolutely not true.
doing it.
You're going to
Not true.
Gentlemen. I hate to raise my voice, but it seems to be, why should I be different than the two of you? So here's the deal.
Good point.
We have 6 seconds.
Quit now, Chris Wallace. Quit
We're
now.
going to go to the next
Give it
segment.
up.
Walk all over him.
You each are gonna have
I'm not.
two
I'm
uninterrupted-
surprised
like
there
him.
isn't a light up sneaker footprint.
Give it up, Chris Wallace. You're done.
You can't control Trump. Just
Chris Wallace, give it up. You're done. You're done in this
Your
town.
children grow up in a racial jungle,
Yeah.
confirmed by
Thank
Snopes.
you. A racial
Well,
why
Go
not? That's what
in
I'm saying.
racial
I thought
Joe
with the
Biden and
racial.
Snopes, and they really didn't want to confirm that shit.
Well, less than
He's
less
There's
than
plenty.
no less than
Really
you have.
got to just let
Let's
him answer.
please continue on. The issue of race. Vice President Biden, you say that
here we go.
President Trump's
Oh gosh,
response
this is going
to
down.
the violence in Charlottesville 3 years ago,
Oh,
when he
God.
talked
Yeah, they're
about
gonna back
very
the
poor
Charlotte.
people on both sides,
Oh,
was what
yeah,
directly
wow.
led
you
you
kicked him out of here.
to launch this run for president.
Oh, yeah, sure.
President Trump, you have often said that you believe you have done more
Opening coming out
for
the
Black
jaws.
Americans than any president,
He
with the
observably has.
possible
He has.
exception
I mean,
of
that
Abraham
was a
Lincoln.
softball of a
My
question.
I
for the
want to
two
hear
of
this
you
answer because
is why
that
did
old
voters
white shark
trust
eyed
you rather than your
albino is a
opponent
real
to
racist.
deal with the race issues facing this country over the next 4 years? Vice President Biden, you go first.
My
Get it,
God,
Scott.
these liberals are crazy as
Equality.
shit.
It's about decency. It's about the
It's about
Constitution.
decency.
And we have never walked
Oh
away
my
from
God, are you serious?
require equity for everyone, equality for the whole.
Why did you draft the 1994
But
crime bill,
We've
Joe?
never accomplished it. But we've
Hey,
never
Joe,
walked away from
what do you with the
the key
1994 crime bill?
It is true.
Why do you
The reason I
oppose
got the
desegregation,
racism
saying that you
those
didn't want your
people
children to,
think
quote,
rise. We
grow up in a
really
racial
think
jungle,
about
confirmed by
how
Snopes, you racist asshole?
Oh, boy.
I'm willing to bet that if we go into the closet, we'll find a
racial
stack of white hoods like it's a returning costume like the Captain of the Incredibles.
Ku Klux Klan. He only got
Just like Nick Evans, too.
when he thought
Nice.
he should.
Only it's a white hat with a cone on it and 2 eye slits.
No.
Don't
Oh, he
get me
did
started on the flaming crosses.
he
He's
did
a
the fine
reformed-
people on both sides argument.
Yeah, he's a reformed
Come
racist.
on. I'd make.
Reformed racist.
Donald Trump
Is that-
condemned neo-Nazis as opposed to you, Joe Biden. who
Right.
was one.
hack, man.
There was a peaceful protest in front of the White House.
I don't think Joe Biden's a
What did he
racist.
do?
I think he's an
He came out of
ignorant
his bunker,
asshole.
had the
He's dumb.
military use tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church and hold up a Bible. And then what
Oh
happened?
my God. Is he serious?
That very church
He's
said
serious.
that it was a
He's
disgrace.
still doing this.
The general who was with
The
him
bishop, who was a well-known
bad.
liberal
He's
activist.
reading.
I'm pretty confident he's just
He's
reading.
just so full of
Thank
it.
you.
With no fact.
His research, yeah. His debate partner, his mock
Drinks
debate
that.
partner, was an angry pink mohawked lesbian.
Yeah. In fact, you talk about helping
I don't laugh
African
because that's
Americans.
probably true.
1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the
They need to
coronavirus.
stop talking about black
And
folks because these people don't give a damn
by
about
the
black
end of
folks,
the
and black folks
number
need to stop
500
whining.
will have been killed.
Black and
1
brown
in
bodies.
500 African
Black and
Americans.
brown bodies.
This man,
African Americans. African Americans.
500?
this
Is
man
there a
cares about-
0.25% mortality rate for black Americans?
I mean,
I
it's
don't know.
kind of high.
Look at what he talks about. You have to look at what he
idiot.
did. And what he did has been
But
disastrous.
if he's talking about,
for the
it could be, if he's talking about black Americans in prison,
President Trump,
where he put them because of his
Right.
1994
Well, and
crime
Kamala Harris
bill,
kept them there.
and Kamala Harris kept
Yeah.
them there as
It's
free,
like a tag team.
free indentured servitude
Yeah.
labor for
Yeah,
the state,
pretty much.
Right.
then I guess he has a point.
13th
Super
Amendment.
predators.
That's one for you, Biden.
African Americans.
Super predators.
predators. And they've never forgotten it. They've never forgotten it, Joe.
never said
No, sir. It's his
Yeah,
limits.
Joe,
you
you
did
said that.
and they call you a super predator. And I'm letting people out of jail now that you have treated the African American
Nonviolent drug offenders.
population.
Anyone out there who
community,
thinks that
you've treated the
nonviolent
black
drug offenders shouldn't be
community
locked
about
up,
as
your
bad
choice
as
couldn't be more
anybody in this
clear.
country.
Biden
You
has,
did the
it's been almost his
19
raison d'etre.
If you look at the polls, I'm doing better than any Republican has done in a long time.
That's true.
Because they
In a
saw what
long
you did.
time.
You
Confirmed.
call them super
are facts.
predators, and
Super
you've called them
predators.
worse than that. Because you look back at your testimony over the years, you've called them a lot worse than that. As far as the church is concerned, and as far as the generals are concerned, we just got the support of 250 military leaders and generals, total support. Law enforcement, almost every law enforcement group in the United
Now you're
States.
looking
I
down
have
at
Florida,
That's
I
really
have
got to sting
Texas,
because they're big
I
union
have
guys.
Ohio, I have Portland. The sheriff just came out today and he said, I support President Trump.
Does
I
that
don't
count
think
as
you have
evidence?
Any law enforcement, you can't even say
Wait,
the word law
is he saying
enforcement.
the sheriff,
because
the
if you
black
say those
lady of
words,
Portland, or was
you're
that
gonna
the
lose
It must
all
be
of
the
your
second
was that
sheriff
the
because
police
she-
commissioner?
Sheriff.
And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the words law enforcement? Because you know what? If they called us in Portland, we would put out that fire in a half an hour, but they won't do it because they're run by radical left Democrats. If you look at Chicago, if you look at any place you want to look, Seattle, they heard we were coming in the following
Absolutely
day
true.
and they put up their hands and we got
Yep.
back Seattle. Minneapolis, we got it back, Joe, because we believe in law and order, but you don't. The top
is
10
lit.
cities and
Whoa,
just
this is
about the
bad for
top
Joe when he
40
makes a Jersey
cities
Shore duck face.
are
And he's looking
run
down
by
because he's-
Democrats and in many cases radical left, and they've got you wrapped
Does
around
Joe
their
Biden
finger, Joe,
own lips?
to a point where you don't want to
Look at
say
his lips.
anything about
They're
law
retracted.
and order. And I'll tell you what, the people
It's-
of
it's
this
like
country
he had lips, but they were
want and
sewn shut
demand
by
law and
Hellraiser.
order, and you're afraid to even say it.
All right. I want
swear to
to
God.
return to the question of race.
What happened to his lips? I gotta roll that back. His lips disappeared.
Duck face.
He's looking
Run
down.
by
See his
Democrats.
Look at his lips. Look at his lips. He just disappeared. Oh my
In many
God.
cases, radical left, and they've got you wrapped
Does
around
Joe
their
Biden
finger, Joe,
own lips?
to a point where you don't.
Does he own lips? Like, why did that pop in my head and then pop in his head? That's just crazy. Like, I learned from the white community, no lips means I'm disagreeing with you, but I have to put on a fake smile. I learned this just by communicating with a lot of white people. It's something that they do that we don't do because we can't hide our lips. We could do like this, but we look like a smartass when we do that. They already have less lips than we do. It's just funny when you do it. It's just like, come on. Black people caught on a long time ago that non-lip existing thing.
Want to say anything about
They're
law
retracting.
and order. And I'll tell you what,
They're
people of
retracting.
this
It's like he
country
had lips, but they were
want
sewn
and
shut
demand
by
law and
Hellraiser.
order, and you're
Thank
afraid
you.
to say it.
All right. I want to return to the question of race.
Oh, there's a moment right
After
there.
the grand
His
jury in the
scalp
Breonna
moved.
Taylor
Like he was
case
trying to go through
decided
the
not to
inventory in
charge
his
any of the
brain for
police
something that he couldn't
with
find.
homicide. You said it raises the question, quote, whether justice could be equally applied in America. Do you believe that there is a separate but unequal system of justice for blacks
Look, this is what Joe Biden scalped did.
Yes,
Look.
there's systemic injustice in this country, in education, in work, and in law enforcement,
accountability,
and the way in which it's enforced. But look, the vast majority of police officers are good, decent, honorable men and women. They risk their lives every day to take care of us. But there are some bad apples. And when they occur,
I thought bad apples was the worst thing to say.
I thought that was a bad argument. You can't make that argument. You just said it's systemic. You can't then go say there's a few bad apples and it's systemic. It's one or the other. Pick a lane.
Systemic is a bad tree.
Well, everything
Which one is it?
And people give them a pass on this.
Police chiefs, and we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out. So we change
No
the way
specifics.
in which we have
We're going to
more
work this out. We're
transparency.
going to how?
And no
Now,
worse this happen.
whoa.
These cops aren't happy
You're
to
asking
see
me
what
questions.
happened to George Floyd.
I
These
expect it.
cops aren't happy to see what happened
Dog-faced
to
pony
Breonna
boy.
Taylor.
What? Do some push-ups,
Don't
huh?
like
I
it.
shit
But we have
myself.
to have a system
You
where
stupid
people are held
bastards.
accountable. And by the way, violence in response is never appropriate. Never appropriate. Peaceful protest is. Violence
He's not
is
going to
never
comment
appropriate.
on
Who's
the things he
responsible for
says.
violence,
Peaceful
Joe?
protest. When they run through the middle of the town
President Trump-
and burn down your
President Trump,
stores and kill people all
President
over the
Trump,
place,
that
you
is
say
not
doing good
peaceful
stuff.
protest.
President Trump,
No, it's
I'm not
not, but
asking-
you say it is.
I did
President
not
Trump,
say
I'd like to continue with the
Yes,
issue
go
of
ahead,
race. I
please.
promise we're going to get to the issue
sorry,
of law and
sorry,
order
sorry.
in a moment.
Fine.
This month, your administration
He didn't comment on the
directed
things he
federal
said.
agencies to
Donald
end
Trump has to always,
racial
so it seems like his
sensitivity
idea. Like, we're going to get to that in a second.
that
Right, we will.
addresses
Yeah,
white
it's true.
privilege or
Absolutely.
race theory.
Like, listen, you guys
Why did
will each have
decide
time to answer the
to do
questions.
that, to
Good,
end
that's what I
racial
wanted.
sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country, sir?
No.
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane, that it was a radical revolution that was taking place in our military,
Talking about the training.
in our schools,
children to
all
feel
over the
guilty
place. And you
before
know
they're
it, and
adults.
so does everybody else.
Which, by the way,
And
teaches
he
with
would
every
know.
single
What
white
am I
person.
talking about?
Racial sensitivity training.
If you were a certain person, you had no status in life.
Pause and comment. Yeah. Are you stupid? They're literally teaching kids, white kids, to feel guilty because their ancestors. You can't even prove their ancestors owned slaves, you dumb shits. 75% of Native Americans owned slaves, and you don't want to talk about that one. Ha! What about the Africans that that captured the slaves in Africa and then sold them to the whites? What about that? You don't want to talk about that, especially Ghana. Ghana has a big history about that one. Huh?
Mm-mm.
What about Mansa Musa, the richest human being who ever lived? Forget the color. And yes, he was black, African at that. And he got most of his goddamn wealth on the backs of slaves and the things that the slaves captured, which were diamonds and gold and the lot. So what about that one? Just forget about it, huh? It's cute. Forget the cute stuff, huh? It's just amazing, you know. I don't know what to say about it, man, at this point.
Well, DJ, I'm gonna get out of here for a bit.
All right. Appreciate you for joining.
Yeah, well, it's always fun. It's always fun, and it's definitely been an eventful night.
Yep. See you next go round.
Okay. I'm still hungry. That's not good.
Stomach talk, man.
I don't want what's in the fridge downstairs. It's too late to order something. I said I was going to save some money. Don't eat out so much.
Well, sacrifice.
All
right, now. Appreciate
right,
it.
well, have a good night.
All right, peace.
It was sort of a reversal. And if you look at the people, we were paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach very bad ideas and frankly, very sick ideas. And really, they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Good job.
We have to go back
That's just a
to the
drink
core
because here.
values of this country. They were teaching people that our country is a horrible place. It's a racist place. And they were
That is
teaching people
absolutely
to
true.
hate our
You look
country.
at critical race theory
And
and
I'm
black
not gonna
liberation
allow that to
theology. If
happen.
you look at what Barack Obama subscribes to with Derek Bell, if you look at these beliefs, it is this is the idea of implicit bias. It's you are racist if you are white, ergo the United States is a racist country.
Sensitivity. People have to be made aware of what other people feel like.
Like you were made aware when you opposed desegregation because you didn't want your kids to grow up in a, I'll make sure I get this, racial jungle, according to Snopes, Joe Biden. Now, to be clear, I don't think he's a racist. He just plays one on TV.
He does a really good job.
A sense of self-esteem. It's a little bit like how this guy and his friends look down on so many people. They look down their nose on people like Irish Catholics like me and grew up in Scranton. They look
Who's looking down on African Americans
who are of a different faith. They look down on people who are a different color. In fact, we're all Americans. The only way
I've got to say, I don't think we've talked about people who try and avoid issues and not get to specifics. I've never seen it so egregious as tonight with Joe Biden. But this guy who looks down, is there any that he looks down on Irish Catholics? Is he just reading another headline from HuffPo that says, behind closed doors, Donald Trump mocks Christian voters? He just nominated a Catholic to the Supreme Court, you asshat! You bumbling, demented circus monkey!
Last I checked, it wasn't the Republicans throwing shade at her for being a Catholic either, right?
No, there was a New York Times who also have a completely uncorroborated, unconfirmed story about Donald Trump's taxes. So,
talk like you about law and order.
Violent
you
crime,
still haven't mentioned. Are you
crime.
in favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow.
Are you in favor of law and order? Go ahead.
what do you say? You what?
Phony?
Law and order.
This is law and order.
Let him. Law and
Take
order
him on the bike
justice
racks,
where people
Joe. See
get
what
treated
happens.
fairly. And the fact of the matter is, violent crime went down 17%, 15% in our administration.
All right.
It's gone up on his watch.
Went down much more than ours.
All right, we're down.
It went down much more under Donald Trump until Black Lives Matter and COVID.
Yeah.
And you can actually look at that spike entirely due to leftist cities. What is it? San Francisco saw 100% increase. Was it in murder, rape, or violent crime? New York saw a several 100% increase in violent crime, murder, rape, arson. So yeah, it's one of those things that it does matter. It does matter because this is where Americans need to understand there's constitutional authority. There are roles of the federal government, and then there are roles of the state government. And the president cannot, he's respected those boundaries by not sending the National Guard unless by request.
Right.
But if you look at these states and you look at these cities, Portland, New York, Detroit, Seattle, all of these major cities, Chicago, where these protests have gotten increasingly violent, these are under Democratic rule where they refuse to enforce law and order. And you have seen several 100% increase in violent crimes. Similarly, Bill Clinton tried to claim that he was the one who oversaw a reduction in crime, although he kind of had to play both sides of the fence because he tried to push the assault weapons ban, implying that there was increased crime. But violent crime went down under Bill Clinton. It is almost entirely attributable. I think it was 2/3 or at least 1/3 just to Giuliani in New York City.
Yeah, exactly. But he'll take credit for it.
I was raised in the suburbs. This is not 1950. All these dog whistles on racism don't work anymore.
Whoa,
suburbs are by and large integrated.
Is this a BuzzFeed boldly video?
Yeah.
I expect Joe Biden to unzip himself and be like, it's just me, a random fat bitch.
There have been any time in the past. What really is a threat to the suburbs and their safety?
This is surprising to me because even though he's trying to not be pinned on policies, Joe Biden, you can see his rhetoric is increasingly social justice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much so. I do want to talk about this issue of law and order, though. And in the joint recommendation,
let's be honest, the suburbs aren't in trouble yet because they're well armed.
That's true.
Task force. You talked about, quote, reimagining policing. First of all, what does reimagining policing mean? And do you
support
no idea.
It
means
I was listening to a lot of John Lennon.
Reimagining
this is the
policing?
question
And do
I
you
wanted.
support the Black Lives Matter
This is the question.
Oh, here we go.
call for
He looks scared.
for community control of policing?
Look, what I support is the police having the opportunity to deal with the problems they face. And I'm not I'm totally opposed to defunding the police officers.
Whoa!
Local police.
You say I'm not,
You're
Brian?
Not totally
His budget calls for
opposed.
$400
You say
million
I'm not totally opposed, or without a word whisper?
assistance.
You can't know. He's a demented old circus
They
monkey.
need when
not.
they show
He
up
said
for
not.
a 9/11 call to have someone with them as a psychologist or psychiatrist to keep them from having to use force and be
Angry
able to talk
Joe.
people down.
Yeah,
We
like
had to
one of
have
the examples,
community policing
Jacob
like we
Blake,
had
where they showed
before,
up and the guy
where
was
the
chasing a
officers
cop
get
with
to
a
know
knife.
the people.
Can you imagine if a social worker who wanted to ask him about his relationship with his mother would have handled it?
Let's just talk for a minute, okay? Let's talk.
They're talking about this. That's not what
That's
He's talking about
exactly
defunding the police.
that is not true.
He doesn't have any law
Well, you
support.
look,
He has no law enforcement
that's not
support.
true.
Almost
That's
nothing.
not. Look,
That is
Who do you
absolutely
have?
true.
Name
That
one
is statistically
group that
verifiable.
supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go
Look,
ahead.
look.
Think. We have time.
we don't have
Name one law enforcement group that came out and supported
I think I'm going to
Chris
take
Wallace,
back the
Chris Wallace,
mic.
please.
And I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of
You
protest.
see, Joe
in many
Biden just literally
cities
hung his head.
that have
He
turned
did.
violent.
He went-
In
he just went.
Oregon, especially, we had
Like a
more than
dad who was
100
disappointed who just
straight
walked in on his
days
teenager
of
watching
violence,
porn.
which I think you would agree. You talk about
Only
peaceful
it's
protest.
himself.
Gerald Morgan porn.
Turned into
No,
riots.
there is none.
Vice President, you say that
Name
people
one
who
group.
commit crimes should be held accountable. The question I have, though, is as the Democratic nominee, and earlier tonight you said that you are the Democratic Party right now. Have you ever called the Democratic governor of Oregon and said, hey, you got to stop this? Bring in the National Guard, do whatever
Great
it takes,
question.
but you'd stop the days and months of violence.
You better suited going into
Important.
Oregon and saying, "Bring
I don't
out
hold
your
public office.
dead."
Right.
I am a former vice president. I've made it clear. I've made it clear in my public statements.
the answer's no.
That the violence should be prosecuted. It should be prosecuted, and anyone who commits it.
But
should
you've
be
never called
prosecuted.
for the people,
He's never
the
said
leader. Excuse me, sir. You have never
Chris Wallace
called
is
for
doing
the
a good job
leaders
tonight.
Yeah,
in
he's got
He's
Portland
doing a pretty good job.
in Oregon to
Because
bring
they-
in the National Guard and knock off 100 days of riots.
They can, in fact, take care of it if he just stay out of the way.
Whoa.
Here-
They're not
Oh,
taking
really?
care of it. Look, over $2 billion in damages, 30 people dead, over 1,000 officer casualties, 14,000 arrests, and the only time they step up is because the Proud Boys want to drive by in a couple of trucks with some American flags and maybe a couple of paintball guns. I won't lie. That's just a good old-fashioned Saturday. The point is here, they have done nothing. Billions of dollars in damage.
real gun.
You were talking about dozens of people dead.
Well-
This is if you are a black person in the United States right now and you're living in, and let's be honest, there aren't many in Seattle, but let's talk about Chicago. Let's talk about New York, and you are seeing your neighborhood destroyed. If you're one of the 80+% of black Americans who support at least as much police presence as now,
Yeah.
if not more, which by the way is reflected in every single poll, you need to see right now you have a former vice president who, by the way, said he didn't want to support desegregation because he didn't want his kids being raised in a racial jungle, according to Snopes, right now is saying, hey, let your shops be burnt down. Let your David Dorns be shot.
Right.
Let your young children, let your schools be burned down to the ground because we can't have Donald Trump step in and help. We can't have the National Guard. This will be fixed if the federal government stays out of it. It is just like the exact opposite. If you wanted to protect the most vulnerable among us with COVID, right? The exact opposite of what you would do is quarantine the sick. You would quarantine the healthy. You would quarantine the sick. You would
Right.
quarantine
Old
old
people,
people. You would quarantine sick people. This is the exact opposite in the same sense that he doesn't understand the role of the federal government. The role of the federal government is to step in when local government cannot keep its citizens, American citizens, safe from either external threats or internal threats. So he's willing to step into your state and tell you which kind of healthcare you have to purchase.
Right.
He's willing to step into your state and tell you which kind of a business you have to patron if you want to receive some kind of a tax break. But he is not willing to have the federal government step in under its legitimate purview into a state where American citizens are dying and the police are overrun to help you, minority American citizens. There you go. This guy
There's your candidate.
has no idea as to what the actual parameters of government are. When there are no principles, you're seeing it fall apart tonight. He cannot provide specific answers.
No.
And when he does,
Of government,
they're the
legislative,
opposite of
judicial,
what you have the authority to do.
Right.
If you want to
In
say Donald
reality.
Trump's an authoritarian, the guy on this stage, let me get this straight, and then we'll go back to the debates. I'm sorry. The guy on this stage we're supposed to believe is an authoritarian is the guy who by Joe Biden's own accusations, lowered taxes, right? Supported freedom of speech.
Yeah, that's good.
Employed more Americans, encouraged businesses as opposed to actually just punishing or putting on tariffs. Encouraged Americans to employ, businesses to employ more Americans.
Yeah, right.
Encourages Americans to be able to exercise their Second Amendment rights, and is going to appoint a Supreme Court justice who will support those as well. And has stayed out of, I lost count because of this wrap on my head. And has actually stayed out of these states where American citizens are dying, and he would be well within his right to deploy the National Guard to some capacity of the American military in all its power until they ask for it. That's the guy who's the authoritarian.
Says
the guy who at every single turn has allowed you more freedom and more rights.
Sounds like a dictator.
It might be murky on the definition there.
But by the way, I have the first thing dictators do is come in and lower that corporate tax rate and individual tax rate.
And have more freedoms guaranteed to all Americans. I have a quick question for Joe Biden.
You got the connection.
What exactly did President Trump do to get in the way? You're saying that these states could handle the problem if he would just get out of the way. What
Your
exactly
jacket disqualifies you from filling in for Chris Wallace, Gerald. So.
What you win a golf tournament?
I'm just confused here. Like he didn't get in the way in the first place. He didn't go into a place unless
what's
he was
in the way
asked.
is that Helena Bonham Carter tie Biden is wearing. Let's go back to this
Space
asshole.
Force and all of the other things. A fixing of the VA, which was a mess under him. 308,000 people died because they didn't have proper health care. It was a mess. And we now got a 91% approval rating at the VA, our vets. We take care of our vets. But we've rebuilt our military. The job that we've done, and I'll tell you something, some people say maybe the most important. By the end of the first term, I'll have approximately 300 federal judges and Court of Appeals judges, 300, and hopefully 3 great Supreme Court judges, justices. That is a record.
I've never seen
likes
this.
of
I know
which
it's ad
very
hominem.
few people.
Joe
And you know, one
Biden's
of the reasons I'll have
lips,
so
there's
many
no
judges,
contrast between the rest of his
because
face.
President Obama
Yeah,
and
I
him-
think
It's all the same shade.
He's sucking all the blood from available
It's like
places.
Yoko Ono's ass horizontally on a face. There's no action. It's just a crack. It's just a crevice.
128
The same stuff
openings.
roughly.
Like if I were to go
comes out.
freehand mountain climbing, that's where I'd sort of leverage my knees.
Yeah.
That's a grab
Where I'd
spot
wedge
right
them.
there.
You left
Right in that.
us
Right
128
in the kisser.
openings. You can't be a good president. You can't be a good vice president. But I want to thank you because it gives us almost, it'll probably be above that number by the end of this term. 300 judges. It's a record.
Looking at both your records, why should
don't look at
voters
his.
elect you president as opposed to President
Under
Trump?
this
You have 2
president-
minutes uninterrupted.
Under this president, we become weaker,
Really?
sicker,
What?
poorer,
How?
more divided.
We
and more
become
violent.
weaker with no major
When I
wars. I
was
think Donald Trump is the
vice
only president
president,
to not start
we
a
inherited
new
a
armed
recession.
conflict, as
Yeah, I
opposed
was
to
asked
you who are
fix it.
dropping
I
drone
did.
strikes
We
like a
left
new
in booming
mixtape.
economy,
Thank you.
and he
Hear me.
caused a recession.
Oh, really?
With regard to being
Somebody
weaker.
call get
You
down.
claimed credit when he had the best economy ever. You said that was the result of Obama, despite the fact that he never saw those unemployment rates or labor force participation rates in all 8 years. You guys tried to claim credit, and now you're saying he's to blame for the recession? Okay, let's keep this in mind when the economy rebounds. And by the way, it's rebounded faster than anticipated because they were preparing for the debate with worst case scenario, 12% unemployment going to the election.
Exactly.
It's already below 9.
He hasn't brought that up.
He never keeps his word. Can you add
No,
back
no,
He's
I'm
a
not
person
asking.
that's
That was a
not-
rhetorical question.
Can you
Go
add
ahead,
back
sir.
30 seconds?
Yeah, yes, you may have.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, thirdly,
Where was I?
we're poor.
Thirdly,
The billionaires have gotten much more wealthy by a tune of over $300 to $400 billion
wage
more
increase
just since
in
COVID.
modern American
You
life.
and your home,
Yeah.
you guys
You don't need to fight for 15
You're in
anymore
more
because
trouble than
more
you were
Americans make
before.
significantly more than
In terms
15
of
than
being
ever.
more
You're gonna have
violent.
to up that number.
When we were in
I guess.
office, there
New
were
slogans,
15%
Fight for 28.
less violence in America.
Why the number
than there is
change?
today.
So,
The
violence
violence
in America.
States.
He already did.
It's
15.
on his watch. And with regard to more divided, the nation can't stay divided. We can't
Shut
be
the
this
hell
way.
up with that
And
bullshit.
speaking of my son, the way you talk about the military, the way you talk about them being losers and being
Oh my
just
God!
being
This is again.
My
This is a man who is
was
running
in
for
Iraq.
office. Keep in mind, people out there who say, "Well, you know what? I'm not pro social justice warrior, but I'm not a Republican. I'm a classical liberal." This is a guy who is reading Slate and Salon headlines. The websites that, by the way, repeatedly support pedophiles. Salon.com. I'm a
That's
pedophile,
true.
but I'm not a monster. They actually denigrated us because we said, if you're a pedophile, you're likely a monster. These are the He's reading headlines from these websites.
That's it.
Joe Biden right now. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has ever called troops losers and suckers, and there are over 10 accounts, including people who were in those rooms, saying that's absolutely untrue. There are
even the one that came out
verification that you can see screenshots right now that prove it was the main story for this when it started. It was a weather event where he couldn't actually attend an event.
Yeah,
it's Bolton. Bolton wrote a whole book, taking a steaming dump on Trump, and he even said, like, I don't really have any integrity left, but I'm going to try and save a shred of it. That's not true.
He did.
Dumb enough to believe.
We've already been through this. I think the American people would rather hear about more substantial subjects. Well, as the moderator, sir, I'm going to make a judgment call here.
$3.5 million from the.
Oh, we brought up Hunter. Down your beer, everybody. I already got a pee.
Is totally discredited. Mitt Romney on that committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money. That report was written for political reasons.
I'd like to talk about climate change.
Mitt Romney's a wiener head, and you know it.
The forest fires in the West.
By the way, you also said Mitt Romney was racist back then, dipshit.
They have displaced hundreds of thousands of people. When state officials there blame the fires on climate change, Mr. President, you said, I don't think the science.
It's disgusting.
Over your 4 years, you have pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accord. You have rolled back a number of Obama environmental records.
I'm going to chase that skirt out of here and go to the bathroom.
What do you believe about the science of climate change?
And
what will you do in the next 4 years to confront it?
I want crystal clean water and air. I want beautiful, clean air. We have now the lowest carbon. If you look at our numbers right now, we are doing phenomenally. But I haven't destroyed our businesses. Our businesses aren't put out of commission.
Are you going to destroy
if you look at the Paris Accord, it was a disaster from our standpoint.
Climate change is fault. We have fires in California, which we've had since California was California.
Because our businesses are doing well. As far as the fires are concerned, you need forest management in addition to everything else.
Yeah.
The forest floors are loaded up with trees, dead trees that are years old, and they're like tinder. And leaves and everything else. You drop a cigarette in there, the whole forest burns down. You've got to have forest management.
What do you believe about the science of climate change?
I believe that we have to do everything we can to have immaculate air, immaculate water, and do whatever else we can that's good. We're planting 1 billion trees, the billion tree project.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's underserved how much Republicans support conservation.
We just don't want to, cut the economy at its knees to do it.
I think to an extent, yes.
In ways
but
that aren't necessarily going to help the economy. Making the claim that the fires are because of climate change is idiotic. Because people that are out there want to get forest management under control.
If you had forest management, good forest management, you wouldn't be getting those calls. In Europe, they live their forest cities. They're called forest cities. They maintain their forests. They manage their forests. I was with the head of a major country. It's a forest city. He said, sir, we have trees that are far more, they ignite much easier than California. There shouldn't be that problem. I spoke with the governor about it. I'm getting along very well with the governor.
California,
but I said, at some point,
management. They are the reason
have
California
hundreds of thousands of
sort of
acres.
just saying you were like doing a hand in the face.
That's burning down because of a lack of.
But I said it in one sentence. In the science of climate change,
we're still right.
Why have you rolled back the Obama Clean Power Plan, which limited carbon emissions in power plants? Why have you relaxed?
Because it was driving energy prices through the sky.
Why have you relaxed fuel economy standards that are going to create more pollution from cars?
Well, not really, because what's happening is the car is much less expensive and it's a much safer car. And you're talking about a tiny difference.
You missed Trump owning Biden on the environment in California wildfires.
At least double and triple the number of cars purchased. We have the old slugs out there that are 10, 12 years old. If you did that, the car would be safer. It would be much cheaper by $3,500.
In the case of California, they've simply ignored.
No, but you would take a lot of cars off the market because people would be able to afford a car. Now, and by the way, we're going to see how that turns out. But a lot of people agree with me, many people. The car has gotten so expensive because they have computers all over the place for an extra little bit.
One of the drinking rules, don't die on the street.
And I'm okay with electric cars too. I think I'm all for electric cars. I've given big incentives for electric cars. But what they've done in California is just crazy.
Vice President Biden, I'd like you to respond to the president's climate change record, but I also want to ask you about a concern. You proposed $2 trillion in green jobs. You talk about new limits, not abolishing, but new limits on fracking, ending the use of fossil fuels to generate electricity by 2035, and zero net emission of greenhouse gases by 2050. The president says a lot of these things would tank the economy and cost millions of jobs.
He's absolutely wrong, number one. Number two, if in fact, during our administration, the Recovery Act, I was in charge, able to bring down the cost of renewable energy to cheaper than or as cheap as coal and gas and oil. Nobody's going to build another coal-fired plant in America. No one's going to build another oil plant.
Subsidize solar and wind at the American taxpayers' dime, even though it doesn't work.
Make sure that
all the while vilifying nuclear, probably our most affordable and really realistic
making sure that we can do that. We're going to put 500,000 charging stations and all of the highways that we're going to be building in the future. We're going to build an economy that, in fact, is going to provide for the ability us to take 4 million buildings and make sure that they, in fact, are weatherized in a way that, in fact, they'll emit significantly less.
Take everything he just mentioned. He's not even close to what Elon Musk can do. As far as charging stations, as far as infrastructure, as far as spearheading the market, as far as innovation. What you need is a president who steps out of the way for more proof. Who's the leader in the electric car space right now?
It's got to be Tesla.
Something based with Tesla. They've moved their factory from California to Texas because California is a little petri dish of Biden's policies. Texas is a little petri dish.
I will join the Paris Accord because with us out of it, look what's happening.
It's that simple.
America leads electric. And America leads electric because of the policies of Donald Trump.
Exactly. Relationship with foreign policy.
Elon Musk, I don't even know what he is.
Rainforest of Brazil are being
South African. Is he Swedish?
Thank you, sir.
I don't know whether to ask him about apartheid or have him build my furniture.
And every bit of carbon that's emitted in the United States. Instead of doing something about that, I would be gathering up and making sure we had the countries of the world coming up with $20 billion. Say, here's $20 billion. Stop tearing down the forest, and if you don't, then you're going to have significant.
He just watched Fern Gully.
Consequences.
What about the argument that
that was Avatar?
President Trump basically says that you have to balance environmental interests and economic interests, and he's drawn his line.
Well, he hadn't drawn a line. He still, for example, makes sure that he wants to make sure that methane's not a problem. You can now emit more methane without it being a problem.
Probably
methane.
Quite a bit of methane.
This is a guy who says that you don't have to have mileage standards for automobiles that exist now. This is the guy who says that. Well, the fact that it's all true. And here's the deal.
Talking about the Green New Deal, and it's not $2 billion or $20 billion, as you said. It's $100 trillion.
I'm talking about
where they want to rip down buildings and rebuild the building.
No,
it's the dumbest, most ridiculous. Where airplanes are out of business, where two-car systems are out, where they want to take out the cows too. That's not true either, right? This is a $100 trillion. That's more money than our country could make in 100 years if we're
not
going
the case.
All right, let me because I actually wait a minute, sir.
I've never seen any presidential candidate
studied your plan, and it includes
Joe Biden.
upgrading 4 million buildings, weatherizing 2 million homes over 4 years, building 1.5 million energy efficient homes. So the question becomes, the president is saying, I think some people who support the president would say that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money and hurt the economy.
What it's going to do is going to create thousands and millions of jobs, good paying jobs.
But let him finish, sir.
He doesn't know how to do that.
$100 billion.
The fact is, it's going to create millions of good-paying jobs, and these tax incentives for people to weatherize, which he wants to get rid of. It's going to make the economy much safer.
Donald Trump was kind of lurching behind her.
To deal with the
entire evening has been one giant lurch.
By the way, here's an answer for hurricanes. He said,
"I'm surprised he doesn't just say you're right."
I never said that.
That's what he did say.
You made it up.
And we're going to be in a position where we can.
I don't know if this will play well with the rest of the country, but
good job.
I'm enjoying it.
Making sure the environment is clean,
by the way,
and we all are in better shape. We spend billions of dollars now,
$2
billions of dollars on floods, hurricanes, rising seas. We're in real trouble.
Rising
Look what's
sea.
happened just in the Midwest with these
there we go.
storms that come through and wipe out
Wait, hold on a second.
entire
You mean the
sections
Midwest where we
and
have
counties
record
in
crop
Iowa.
yields,
They
the
didn't
most
happen
temperate climates we've
before
ever had,
because of
and the
warming.
highest
We
Great
make
Lake levels in
15%
century.
of the world's
Is that what you mean?
Those are good things.
Which, by the way, in 2017, you said would be gone. You said that they would be gone by the year 2025. Yeah, you said that you would have to have actually 20 years of heavy rainfall for the Great Lakes just to return to normal levels, and instead we have record high Great Lake levels. That was your administration.
They just crammed the 20 years into two.
That's what he's asking
and
right
also,
here.
cherries are the asshole of the fruit world. They're very, very difficult to yield, and we're dumping record cherries in Michigan
He made a couple of statements.
because of our
The
record
Green
crop
New
yield.
Deal
To
is
fix the
$100
prices,
trillion.
Thank you, Governor Whitmer. October 2nd will be in
That's
Lansing State
green.
Capitol.
Well,
New Deal
rebuild every
is not
building.
my plan.
I want to rebuild every
If he knew anything about, if he knew
He
anything
made a
about,
statement about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay,
That is
What
not
he
true.
did is he
You're done in
said
this segment.
he called the military
Mr. Vice President,
stupid bastards.
I did
Oh, there we go.
Stop.
I would never say
Stupid
that.
bastards.
play it.
The difference is his accusation is
President,
actually true.
Answered.
It's not
the
right.
Final question.
The final question is, I can't
now.
remember which of all of them.
I can't remember. I can't remember. A Freudian slip was never
about
so
the economy
slippery.
And about this question of what it's going to cost.
The economy.
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what your environmental
Green
changes
New
will
Deal.
do.
The Green New Deal will pay for itself as we
Oh my
move
God.
forward.
He is doubling down and supporting the Green New
Oh,
Deal.
man, he's
For those
all
who
over
haven't
this.
seen,
The great polluting plant.
watch the video where I read the entire Green New Deal from pillar to post. It's 5 pages.
Oh, well, that's a big
It's
statement.
5 pages, and it gives the government control over everything. It includes the words social justice in there. And by the way, and social justice. Wait, what does that mean? Oh,
And I served as Commander, U.S. Southern Command, President Bush.
Oh, I'm gonna fuck you up with this one, just because you want to play out. You want to play with us. You want to play with me, especially yeah. Hey, you want to don't even worry about it. Trust me, we got you. I'm gonna relax on this one. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Good.
Understanding what you may hear about me, I have incredibly good judgment.
Right.
1, I married Jill. And 2, I appointed Johnson to the academy. I just want you to know that.
Say it again.
Let's clap for that, you stupid bastards. Understanding what you may hear about me, I have incredibly good judgment. 1, I married Jill. And 2, I appointed Johnson to the academy. I just want you to know that. Let's clap for that, you stupid bastards.
They're really showing themselves to do really well. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. There you go. Clap for me, you stupid bastards. I mean, hey. Some people say it's a joke. Some people say it's not a joke. I'm going to go with the latter and say it might have been a joke, but if I'm defending my country and you call me a stupid bastard, I'll probably smack the shit out of you. Go ahead.
we only had 5 pages to write this. The fact that a presidential, you cannot be a moderate liberal. You cannot be someone who says, I'm a classical liberal and vote for a man who supports the Green New Deal. That reads like a Slate article, really the shortened version, because it's only 5 pages.
This will be a fair election. And what are you prepared to do over the next 5+ weeks? Because it'll not only be to Election Day, but also counting some ballots, mail-in ballots after Election Day. What are you prepared to do to reassure the American people that the next president will be the legitimate winner of this election in this final
Well, how about
segment,
you call out
Mr.
that
Vice
guy in
President, you go
Texas,
first.
Joe
Prepared
Biden,
to
who was
let
one of the
people vote. You should
137
go to
charges brought for
iwillvote.com.
massive voter fraud.
Decide
More than
how
work for the
they're gonna
Biden
vote, when they're
campaign.
gonna vote, and what means by which they're going to vote. His own Homeland Security Director, and as well as the FBI Director, says there is no evidence at all that mail-in ballots are a source of being manipulated and cheating. They said
Project Veritas. For
Is that there are
Georgia,
gonna be
New
millions of
Jersey,
people because of
Michigan,
COVID that are
New
gonna be
York,
voting by mail-in
California,
ballots, like he does,
Pennsylvania,
by the way.
and
He
Texas,
sits behind the
all of
resolute
which have been
desk and
verified
sends
by a
ballots to
court of law,
Florida.
a judge's
Number one.
order,
Number two,
or an
we're gonna
unbiased
make
state
sure that
governing
those people who
election
want to vote
committee.
in person are able to
We did a
vote
whole
because they're
segment
not
on it. I don't want to
poll
interrupt
watchers.
him,
They're
but
there to
he's
make
full
sure
of
they
shit.
can socially distance. The polls are open on time, and the polls stay open until the votes are counted. And this is all about trying
6
to
weeks after
dissuade
election?
people from voting
what you're
because
talking
he's
about?
trying to scare people into thinking that it's not going to be legitimate. Show up and vote. You will determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote.
So you'll
If
accept
you're
the
able to
results,
vote
Joe?
early in your state,
No matter what
vote
they are.
early.
Well, if he
If
does,
you're
Twitter
able to
won't on
vote
his
in
behalf.
person, vote in person, vote whatever way is the
Vote
best
often.
way for you, because you will. He
like you
cannot
want- I'd
stop
say it.
you
He was right there.
from being.
Boom. Hey, I can't even lie. I have some. I got to do something that I wasn't expected to do, but hey, God is willing and the creek don't rise. So I got to do it.
If you work in a team, you've got to try Monday.com. Go to Monday.com and manage all your team's work on a powerful platform that's easy to use. So easy. Whether it's project.
It's important for y'all, man.
Hate with police.
Good.
Protecting Black lives at all. Nothing is about Black Lives Matter that has to do with any Black lives. If somebody could show me when they've been around to actually prevent these George Floyd incidents, as you would say, from happening, then I could look at Black lives like it's a positive thing. But they're not doing that. They only come around election time. They only come around when a black dead man gets killed by a cop that's white or perceived to be white. And they use that to actually use that to destroy our strength within ourselves. It's like wearing a mask. It's killing the immune system. It's weakening us more and more and more and more and more and more. So then you look at it like, now I could get them because they're already broken down. Even with this George Floyd situation, there's people that usually don't care about that stuff that I noticed was like, yo, that's messed up. But to the point where they're praising him. That's why when people say, oh, you agree with Candace? I'm like, yes, we have to stop praising these type of people. And Black Lives Matter, that's all they ever push. I've never seen in my life, if this exists, then I want to see it. A kid going to school, minding his business, getting good grades, no record, getting shot by a cop. Is it a coincidence that everybody that's shot by a cop has a bad record? So even when people like George Floyd, I'm like, and you said it so perfect. I'm like, wow, it makes so much sense. What about that woman that he put the gun to her stomach? What do you think she's going through right now? It's like, you guys are making him like the greatest guy on earth. He's probably one of the worst, especially a pregnant woman. Like, come on, you have to have some kind of morals, no matter what crimes you're involved in. Because when I grew up, it was no women and kids. If you're dealing with somebody, it's just men on men. Kids and women, all right, we leave you. We see you walk, even in the street, like we see you walking with your baby or your wife. All right, you got to pass for right now, bro. I'll catch you on the rebound.
Right. There's a level of respect for women and children, and that has been written into the culture of not just America, of all societies for a very long time. Women or children are seen as the most vulnerable. And when you see a pregnant woman, and this is all I could think about, reading that story of she gets a knock at the door and somebody is pretending, just the plotting that went into this, pretending to be a part of the water department. And by the time she opens the door and realizes something is wrong and she tries to force it shut, you have George Floyd, who, by the way, is monstrous in size. I believe he's 6'7", was 6'7".
He looked huge.
I think the correct is he's 6'7", very, very big. You know,
kind of muscular as well.
very muscular. Forces his way inside to a pregnant woman. She's home alone. You know, takes the barrel of his gun and puts it to her stomach. His friend pistol whips her, and they robbed her place. They took her wallet, and it's not like this was one incident that happened and it was, you know, oh, you know, that was back when I was on drugs. No, that was the 9th time that he went to prison. It is really hard to go to prison 9 times. And I'm a person that believes in second chances. I know you do too, by the way. I want to get into also your story so that we're not, you know, thinking that this is people that think people can't make a mistake. They can. People can make mistakes.
I've made a lot of them.
You're right.
But not too crazy to go to jail.
Right, right. Have you been to prison 9 times?
No.
That's a record. That's got to be some sort of a record. And what does it do to the psyche of a child when you pretend that this person is just an ultimate victim, a hero? They were calling him a hero. Did you hear the eulogy? I mean, you would have thought this person spent his whole life dedicated to God and just trying to uplift his community when in fact he was terrorizing it.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people that terrorize the community and say positive things too. My thing is why we didn't give that same energy to Nipsey Hussle.
That's exactly right.
He was actually doing something for his community. Despite that he was a part of a gang, he still said, yo, you know, I still want to build my community. I want to make what Crip is about really stand for something. Same thing with the blood thing. You know, I'm a former blood member. You know, I'd rather not say a former blood member. I'd rather say I'm a former gangbanger because there's a difference. Because really what blood is about when you look at it is brotherly love, override oppression and destruction. So that's what I believe in. Same thing with Crips, you know, community revolution and process. So when you look at these things, these was always created to benefit and help our community. It wasn't about destruction. It was about protecting our community. It was about making, you know, doing the right things. But then through time, it became something destructive. But at the same time, you got to look at Nipsey Hussle, who comes from that gang culture that said, you know what? I want to help save lives. I want to teach my community how to build. He started building so much in his community. And it's like that man gets his life taken from another person that's involved with the same gang. So when I see this, I'm like, why did y'all didn't act like this when Nipsey died? Y'all should have been tearing up everything because he was actually building the community that you guys live in. Y'all should have, not to bring violence into it, but that dude should have been killed immediately. You know what I'm saying? But nothing happens. But then a George Floyd dies, who's not a great member of society, and he's being praised like some kind of hero. Like, listen, I understand he died in a horrible way.
But that's when you get a gold casket.
You're not going to deny that.
5 funerals.
But to praise him as somebody like he was good, no. The thing that we keep ignoring is comply. Like, comply. What is so difficult with that? What's so difficult with respect? What's so difficult about that? When I get pulled over by a cop, I don't automatically get nervous like everybody else because I know I don't have nothing in my car. The most I could do is get a ticket. Now, how could I avoid the ticket just in case? Just be as respectful as possible. When cops pull me over, especially at night, I roll all my windows down, turn all the lights on in the car, take my key, put it on the roof of the car, and put my hand on the steering wheel. When they come, you gotta understand the fear that they have as an officer. If they approaching the car, it didn't happen many times that the news don't talk about. They get shot as soon as they walk up to the window.
Right. They have
because they don't know what they expect. That's why even now you see cops will be nervous. They'll walk in like this because they don't know what to expect. But if I turn all the lights on, windows down,
so when they lock in your
my hands on the steering wheel, key on the top of the roof,
these videos
he knows that he knows what's going on in my car. He knows there's nobody else in there.
And you go, oh,
he knows I'm not going nowhere. And he knows I don't got no weapon to do anything to him because my hands on the steering wheel.
What they
come comfortable. They fit, and that energy automatically shifts. So even if they feel like it's gonna be one of those sketchy calls,
right?
The energy shifts. Like, oh, okay, they respect me. They be like, how you doing, officer? They'll be like, license and registration. Sure. I don't have to go. Well, what you pull me over for? What you did that?
Thank you.
Because I'm black.
Yeah, and that's the automatic first thing that comes to mind. But this is what they're being programmed
before they even can get to what they gotta say.
And I'm like, that's dangerous. Because when you're nervous, you might make a move that you shouldn't make. And cops are just as scared, if not more than you. They deal with this every day. So they might, especially now in this climate, it's like you can get shot. So it's teaching our kids fear and stuff like that. We have to be more on teaching them how to prevent it from happening, and by having respect for the job that they're doing, and respect your life. Comply. The more you comply, you're giving them excuses, and it's gonna be justified. So when a lot of these cases, when these cops get off, people don't know the full story, because then there's footage of he's resisting. Like now, they're coming out with the footage showing that George was resisting.
Right. And I kept saying that. I said, we're missing a big part of this footage, because you see him get out of the car and then he's apparently against the wall. And then suddenly the next thing that we possibly see is the 9-minute video. Something obviously happened. And when these toxicology reports came back, it showed that he was on fentanyl. I'm like, do people understand what fentanyl is? Fentanyl will literally make you stop breathing. I mean, fentanyl is the most deadly drug that you could possibly put into your system. There are constant overdoses. My friend who's a surgeon was saying, he said to me that I give this to my patients. They're barely breathing when you give them. So when he said he can't breathe, he's not lying if he's on fentanyl, and he could have not been able, issues breathing before the cops even arrested him. And I'm not saying that this cop was any way justified. He's not. But this is a discussion to have. Fentanyl, right? 100 times stronger, more potent than morphine. I mean, I had to get morphine in the hospital. You don't feel anything, right? This guy is taking this casually as he's going into a store with a counterfeit bill. You hear the 911 call and the woman is saying, this guy, something's wrong with him. He's on something.
Thank you. So I appreciate everybody for joining. Like, follow, share, and subscribe. This has reached 2 hours, and I got to wrap it on up. Like, follow, share, and subscribe. And please check out the rest of my videos. We will be coming out with more content soon. And as you see, we are getting to the bottom of all these things. Police brutality, if you want to use that word, because I don't agree with it, because I am the police. Black and brown bodies, in which, hey, guess what? It's a reason why we're 13% in the Latino community has rose above the black bodies, and now they're part of the brown bodies. They rose above us. Think about that when you want to talk about borders. Also, communities, your community, my community. Think about your local elections, your local jurisdiction. And then maybe you could change your situation. It's not always about a president, because he doesn't have the executive power and move to change your local jurisdiction, jurisprudence. Like, follow, share, and subscribe. I appreciate everybody for coming. Peace.